All right. Shalom, Israel. Welcome back to Wednesday night class. And the water foremost for coming in and checking us out in person and also online for those that are viewing online. Shout out and shalom to the family online as well. Mighty shout out to our teacher Kawakab out down in Guatemala, our brother Amiatazai in London, and all our brothers in California, New Mexico, Florida, and Georgia, and so on and so forth. Shout out and shalom to you as well. And our objective, as always, is to teach and distribute the word to our people, blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans of Indian and Negro descent. You know, we found out through archaeology, history, and prophecy that you are the so-called lost sheep of the house of Israel. So the word of the Most High is to you and to build you up first and foremost. So shout out and shalom to you. Let's go ahead and get started. I know the topic is called to recognize our national treasures. To recognize our national treasures. And I know it doesn't give a lot of meat and detail through the title of what it's about. But as the class unfolds, you'll be able to see and identify what the class is about. So let's go ahead and get started. First and foremost, let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 44, verse 1 through 4, because this is where we get the title from. All right, so let's go to Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha chapter 44, and let's start at verse 1.
Come. Ecclesiastes chapter 44, verse 1 reads, "Let us now praise famous men, and our fathers that begat us."
So we're not talking about some American forefathers like Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington. You know, we're not talking about Mount Rushmore. The majority of them were slave masters.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're not talking about those particular American forefathers. We're talking about our spiritual forefathers, the ones that have significance over our souls. So he said, "Let us praise who?"
Let us now praise famous men.
Go ahead. Now we know that the Most High is not a respecter of persons, but if there's going to be a type of person that we're going to emulate, we want to emulate the characteristics of these famous men. It's not that we're going to pray to these men, but we're praising these men for their character. We're praising these men for their morals, for their morality, for the things they stood for, and the discipline that they maintained regardless of their situation and circumstance. Read on.
Ecclesiastes chapter 44 and verse 1 in page 97 in the Red Book. "Let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begat us."
Okay, go ahead.
"The Lord hath wrought great glory by them through."
And so it says the Most High hath wrought great glory by what?
By them through his great power from the beginning.
So what we're praising is the fact that these men were open-minded enough. These men were not resistant to what the Most High was giving them to be used as a vessel for his greater good and purpose. And that's what we want to identify, and that's what we want to emulate, is the type of character that these men exhibited, showing how the Most High was able to use and put his spirit in them for his purpose. All right, read on.
Come. Verse 3. "Such as did bear rule in their kingdoms."
All right, and these men did what?
Bear rule in their kingdoms.
So what these men in particular were leaders. These men bear rule. These men were leaders. So we're identifying the fact that these men were remarkable in their leadership.
Exception.
They were exceptional. They were remarkable in their leadership. All right? That's what made them stand out. They just didn't focus on themselves. They focused on the people that was in and around them and under them as being their ministers. Read on.
"Such as did bear rule in their kingdoms, men renowned for their power."
It says they're men that was well known for their power. Now, we're not being mystical here, and we're going to explain some of the powers that they possess. Now, these powers that they possessed, we'll identify them as virtues. These men possess certain virtues that are known as strengths. So, a virtue by definition is a strength. So, when it's talking about these men's powers, he's talking about what made these men strong. All right? All throughout the Bible, there's men and women that you can identify and take and pull from their strength or their power, what made them powerful. Read on.
Come, men renowned for their power, giving counsel by their understanding.
And then we'll also see what's one of the things, and we'll identify this through the class, that how were they capable of giving men understanding through their counsel. But we'll identify that through the class. Read on.
And declaring prophecies.
And they declared prophecies as well. The Most High imparted certain wisdom to them and understanding to them, where they were able to foresee, to know what was coming. Right? Read on.
Leaders of the people.
And they were, once again, they were what?
Leaders of the people.
Once again, we're identifying the fact that these men stood out as leaders. Now, for us, San Antonio, Houston, Virginia, Rochester, we had men that stepped up in leadership, men that were ranked up in positions. We had new officers, new soldiers, new captains. All right. So if you are one of those individuals, or you're aspiring to be a leader of your people, then take a special notice of the topic and what we're going on. Read on.
God, leaders of the people by their counsels.
Read on.
And by their knowledge of learning, meet for the people.
So what they acquired was necessary for who?
For the people.
It was beneficial to the people. Right? Read on.
And by their knowledge of learning, meet for the people, wise and eloquent in their instructions.
All right. Now, we don't have time to isolate every single individual that is well known and renowned in the scriptures. All right. We don't have that kind of time in this class, only a 2-hour, 3-hour class. So we're going to jump to one individual in particular. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 45:1.
You want me to read that?
Yeah.
Come.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes chapter 45 and verse 1 reads, And he brought out of him a merciful man, which found favor.
Now, we're talking about what made these men powerful. What made these men virtuous? What were these men's strengths? Already we're looking at one man in particular he's referring to was full of what? Mercy. Who was it? Read on.
Which found favor in the sight of all flesh.
And this man found favor in the sight of all flesh. Read on.
Even Moses.
Even who?
Moses.
So who are we going to isolate on this in this particular instance?
Moses.
Moses. So Moses is the famous man, this particular national treasure that we're going to identify and recognize today is Moses. Because Moses is one of many men that allowed himself to be utilized as a vessel to channel the Most High Spirit through and do great works for our people and our nation. So he's a national hero to us. He's a national hero to our nation. He's very critical. Like I said, it's not the guys on Mount Rushmore. These are the guys that we pay homage to, and their character in particular. All right. So it says, read it again.
Come, and he brought out of him a merciful man, which found favor in the sight of all flesh.
Go ahead.
Even Moses.
Go ahead.
Beloved of the Most High and men.
He said he was beloved both of the Most High and who?
And men.
Read on.
Whose memorial is blessed.
It said, and his memory, what he left behind, is blessed. All right. So let's go. Let that go, and let's go to Exodus chapter 17, verse 1 through 7. Actually, I already got it. Let me put another scripture up there.
Exodus chapter 17, verse 1.
Yeah, read that.
Exodus chapter 17, verse 1. And all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin after their journeys, according to the commandment of the Lord, and pitched in Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink.
All right, go ahead.
Wherefore the people did chide with Moses.
Get that definition of chide. It said the people started doing something against who?
Against Moses.
Now remember, we're talking about what made Moses so powerful. We're recognizing what made Moses special. It says the people did what?
Chide with Moses.
So that means what?
To chide in the 1828 Webster Dictionary. To scold at.
So what are these men doing that Moses?
To scold.
They're scolding Moses. They're scolding him, and they're blaming and accusing him of being the main offender and the reason and the cause of their discomfort and their circumstance and situation. What else you got for Child?
Definition of scold. To find fault or rail with rude clamor.
It says they were rude to Moses. Very rude to Moses. Remember, Moses was favored both by the Most High and men. But these people in particular found fault with Moses. And they became very disrespectful to Moses. What else you got for Chide?
Come. To reprove, to utter words in anger, to chide one for his fault, to blame, to reproach, as to chide folly or negligence.
Negligence. So, when you're a leader of your people, you're going to be the fall guy. You're going to be the reason why people are unhappy. You're going to be the reason why everything is wrong. It's your fault. It was your decisions that got us in this position. It was your doing that's making us suffer. This is to be, we're isolating a man because we're recognizing a man's qualities. Already coming out of Egypt, he's already being the blame for people being made thirsty. Read it. Read.
Exodus chapter 17, verse 2. Wherefore the people did chide with Moses, and said, Give us water, that we may drink. And Moses said unto them, Why chide ye with me?
He said, why are you arguing with me? What did I do? Is not Moses under orders also?
Yeah. I don't control the conditions.
is he the one that make the rain come out the sky?
No.
He said, why are you talking to me this way? Why are you blaming, accusing me as if it's my fault you're thirsty? This is a national treasure that we're talking about here. But what made him this way? What brought him this notoriety? Read on.
It says, Wherefore do ye tempt the Lord?
He said, but you argue with me, but you're really tempting who?
The Most High.
The Most High. Because Moses is saying, I'm just a vessel. I'm just a vessel. I'm the man following the man.
Yeah.
But you're blaming me as if it's my fault that we're in this situation, in this condition. Read on.
Verse 3. It says, And the people thirsted there for water, and the people murmured against Moses.
So when people are made uncomfortable, they're going to naturally look for somebody to do what?
Murmur against.
Somebody's got to be at fault. And a lot of times leadership, if you understand what leadership is about, it's not a glorious position, but it's a position full of blame and injury. And injurious words are going to be thrown at you because people need to see and have an object of contempt.
Yep.
Somebody got to be the object of their contempt. Somebody got to be the fall guy or the one to blame for their unfortunate circumstance. Read on.
It says, And said, Wherefore is this that thou hast brought us up out of Egypt to kill us?
He said, is this that thou hast brought us up out of Egypt to kill us? Go ahead.
And our children and our cattle with
this
thirst?
bad guy.
So when he says, wherefore is this that thou? What he's saying is they're asking Moses, did you pull us out of Egypt only to dry us up in the desert to die?
It's a stupid
To watch us die?
conversation.
That's a crazy question to ask.
Yeah.
First of all, you watch 100 trillion gallons of water split open,
Yeah.
and you walk through it. And now you're blaming Moses because there ain't no water. And now you're supposing that he meant harm and maliciousness to you because you're thirsty. So automatically, he must be malicious. There must be ill intent. Is this the purpose that you brought us out here to die and watch us die? As if Moses gets a kick and a thrill out of watching babies cry and hunger and thirst. Watching mothers draw up and watch people get slim and dehydrated. lips crack, blister, body start cracking. This is why he came out here. Read on.
Verse 4. It says, And Moses cried unto the Most High, saying, What shall I do unto this people?
Moses is at a loss for words, man. Moses is like, man, I don't have an answer.
I'm not answers over here.
I don't have any answers. All I'm getting is blame. All I'm getting is your fault. All I'm getting is railing accusations. Look at what you did. Look at what you're doing to us. Moses had to resort to the Most High and ask, "Hey, what do you want me to do? How can I help them?" Read on.
They be almost ready to stone me.
He said they got stones in their hands.
Yeah, close.
That means that they're almost at a point where they don't want to talk anymore. They want to throw stones.
Yeah.
They want to throw bricks and boulders and blocks and rocks. They want to take me out
Off of one bad condition.
off of one circumstance.
He's had a good track record.
He hasn't shown them any reason why they shouldn't trust him. Brought them out to safety, led them out to safety. But already one situation go bad, people automatically is looking for the evil. They're looking for the blame.
And they still left rich. Mind you, they left rich too.
They live rich and fully furnished. They were fully furnished coming out of Egypt.
Yeah. But they're thirsty.
But they're thirsty though. Read on.
Verse 5. It says, And the Most High said unto Moses, Go on before the people, and take with thee the elders of Israel, and thy rod, wherewith thou smotest the river, and take in thine hand, and go. Behold, I will stand before thee there upon the rock.
He said, I'm going to be in the midst of you. I'm going to help you out. They may not know that I'm there, but you're going to know that I'm there. He said, I'm going to stand before thee and go in the midst of the rock. Where?
In Horeb.
Read.
And thou shalt smite the rock.
You're going to hit the rock with the same staff you used to split the sea, the Red Sea. Use that same staff, tap that rock. Go ahead.
And there shall come water out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. And he called the name of the place Massah and Meribah, because of the chiding of the children of Israel, and because they tempted the Most High.
It says, and because they did what?
And because they tempted the Most High.
How?
Saying, Is the Most High among us?
Because
or not?
It says they tempted the Most High by saying, is the Most High among us or what?
Or not.
So what happens when people don't have a strong enough faith in the Lord?
They start to doubt the Most High.
They doubt. Their doubt. They start to increase in doubt. And then once their doubt starts to escalate, then what? Then they point the finger. Then they're trying to find whose fault is it. But now we're seeing that it's through people's unbelief that is the source of their complaints. Because they don't have enough faith to be able to witness or know that the Most High is in our presence. You're watching miracle upon miracle happen. You're watching miracles be performed in front of your eyes, and you still don't know if the Most High is with you or not. You evaded Egyptian destruction. You evaded horses and chariots, bows and arrows and swords and lancets.
Not one person died.
Not one died. But you avoided all this. But the question still remains in the back of your head, is the Most High with me or not? How many times do people say, is this the truth or not? Is this the truth or not?
Only when they're losing something. They don't say it when they're getting something.
No,
I never see people get a blessing says, is this the truth or not?
yeah.
You don't hear that.
No, you don't. But it's always when they're uncomfortable or they're made uncomfortable. Then the doubt springs out. Then the doubt comes. And then now I'm not sure if this is the truth. All they're saying is, I'm not sure if the Most High is with this. Why are you not for sure that the Most High is with this? Because you're uncomfortable? You're not supposed to be made uncomfortable. Everything's supposed to be a win all day long. Everything's supposed to go your way all the time. Because the minute it's not, I'm not sure this is the Most High. I'm not sure. But he explaining by that mentality and that attitude, you're tempting the Most High. You're provoking the Most High because through your doubt, you're starting to get agitated and starting to get out of pocket. And your performance and your speech is starting to change. You're starting to slander and to rail on people and rebuke people. Now I'm becoming a scorner at this point.
Yeah.
I'm scorning now because I don't believe enough. Because I don't have enough faith. So Moses gave that place a name because of the doubt that was there. And the fact that they didn't believe the Most High was present. Now, this is the beginning of coming out of Egypt. Let's go to Numbers real quick, chapter 20, and start at verse 2.
Numbers.
Is it safe to say these situations made him that treasure?
Oh yeah, it encompasses his mercy and his strength, his powers, and how he maintained himself throughout this circumstance is what made him famous. It's why we should recognize it. It says the scriptures say, "Let us now praise famous men." This is why it should be brought out and recognized. There's so many valuable things to pick up from Moses. You know, there's not enough class to go over this, but we're going to take his highlights for sure and take the highlights of Moses and put them on display. Let's go to Numbers chapter 20, verse 2.
Numbers chapter 20, verse 2. And there was no water for the congregation.
Sounds familiar? Sounds familiar? Read on.
And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron.
There we go.
Sounds familiar? What do people do when they're made uncomfortable? They blame the leaders. For all those that are in leadership positions, you have to understand this. You have to be able to sustain men's doubts when they lack faith in the Father. When they lack faith in Yahweh Shai. You're gonna have to learn how to sustain injurious words and assaults. Because people are going to look at you, because they don't have enough faith, they're going to look at you as the reason why their situation is horrible.
And that's after a period in time of doing nothing but good works to them. Because that's what makes it hurt.
Yeah.
The hurting element is there's been a long history of fidelity.
I've given you no reason to doubt.
Con.
In my actions, but also to not trust the Most High. But men will find fault.
Yeah.
That's the elementary nature of men. Read on.
And the people choked with Moses.
Once again, same thing. We already read. Chode is just the plural form of chide. They was choding. They chiding.
Yeah.
They was blaming all over again. Throwing words at him. Getting ready to pick up rocks. Accusing them of negligence. It's your fault. Read on.
Yeah.
And the people choked with Moses and spake, saying, would the Most High that we had died when our brethren died before the Lord?
Man,
It's extreme conversation right now.
these are extreme words. First they said, is this why you brought us out of Egypt, to watch us die and our children to die in the wilderness? Now you want to let us die like our brother. So now, obviously, a couple of them have died off at this point.
Yeah.
Because they've been wandering for a while. Now they're saying, oh, you want to see us drop dead like some of our brothers drop dead. Read on.
And why have ye brought up the congregation of the Lord into this wilderness, that we and our cattle should die there?
Man, read on. First it was the kids. Now it's the cattle.
All
Read,
property.
it's all the
Everything
property. Everything associated with me. Read on.
And wherefore have ye made us to come up out of Egypt?
We should have stayed where we were.
That's what we really want to talk about.
That's what they keep saying it. I should have stayed where I was at. I should have never left Egypt.
Yeah.
You would have took the slavery in Egypt over faith in the Most High. I should
The
have.
truth
I should have stayed in the world.
should stay in the world.
Read on.
To bring us in, Salah, to bring us in unto this evil place.
Yeah, they call it evil. Read on.
It is no place of seed, or of figs, or of vines.
Now look at the comparison. They ain't growing. Nothing grows out here.
Yeah.
Ain't no seeds. Ain't no figs. There's no vines. Ain't no strawberries. Ain't no raspberries. No grapes. No blueberries. Ain't no vines out here. Ain't no seeds. Ain't no fig. Ain't nothing growing out here. It's a wasteland. You brought us to a wasteland. Read on.
Or of pomegranate.
Ain't no pomegranates. No juicy berry-filled, voluptuous pomegranates that's full of juice with every bite. They got a little zip and little tang to the taste buds. Love pomegranates. Read on.
Neither is there any water to drink. And Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
Go ahead.
And they fell upon their faces. And the glory of the Lord appeared unto them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Take the rod, and gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes.
Now the Most High said, take the staff, same staff. He said, but I want you to speak to the rock this time. I don't want you to talk to it. Because they may think that the power is in the staff, it's in the stick.
That's how simple.
So he said, this time, just speak to the rock. Change up the miracle just a little bit. Maybe they'll identify that it's not the stick that's, because you watch old world farmers. For those that may understand agriculture, there's an old world method of finding water in the ground with two sticks. There's a particular type of stick that you bend and you put another stick and tie another stick to the front of it, and as you walk, the stick will start to move when it gets close to water. It's a particular tree that you use, and the stick will actually find water. Some people know this, some people don't. But just in case they thought it was the stick, he said, "Speak to the rock." Read on.
Come, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth his water, and thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock.
Read on.
So thou shalt give the congregation and their beasts drink. And Moses took the rod from before the Lord, as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock. And he said unto them, Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock?
Wait a minute. Was this what the Most High told him? Did the Most High tell him to call them rebels first before you speak to the rock? The Most High said, you identify what their problem is. Call them rebels because they're rebellious. That word is Nimrod in Hebrew. Namarud is rebel in Hebrew. That comes from the word Nimrod. So Moses called them what? He called them Nimrods.
That's crazy.
He called them Nimrods because that's what a rebel is in Hebrew. He said, shall what?
Hear now, ye rebels.
Hear ye Nimrods.
Must we fetch you water out of this rock?
Must we get this water out of the rock? What's happening with Moses at this point?
Losing his patience.
He's losing patience, man. Moses is losing patience. Now we're identifying what made Moses powerful. But even powerful men lose what?
Patience.
Even great men, famous men lose what?
Patience.
Was Moses perfect?
Nope.
No. Now, you would think that is Moses justified? Is he justified by now to lose patience?
I mean, honestly, human nature standpoint, spiritual standpoint, no.
Read verse 1.
God. Numbers chapter 20, verse 1. Then came the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, into the desert of Zin in the first month. And the people abode in Kadesh. And Miriam died there.
His sister just what?
Died.
His sister just died. Anybody check on Moses?
No. You know nobody did that.
Anybody find out, hey man, how you feeling? You just lost your sister.
Nope.
Did the Most High say, okay, Moses, you lost your sister, so you have the right to be upset. You have the right to lose patience because what you got going on in your life. We're talking about from a leadership standpoint.
Yeah, you're right.
Does what he has going on in his life justify him losing patience?
That's what's no.
Because that's what we say.
Come.
We say, I got a lot going on in my life, so therefore, I don't have to be as merciful. I don't have to be as patient. I don't have to be as kind. I don't have to be as generous. I don't have to be as loving.
I'm on the move.
Because I don't not in the mood, because look what I got going on. I got things going on in my life. Is that justifiable? Because that's what we say though. Worldly, from a worldly standpoint, we say, well, look at what I got going on and what I'm going through, and that should be a good enough reason why I'm losing patience with people. And we're going to find out if the Most High is with that or not. But first, we're realizing that even Moses wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
Even Moses lost patience. As a leader. Read on. Let that go in verse 1. Go back to where we was.
High stress position, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Numbers chapter 20 and verse 11. And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice.
Did he speak to the rock?
He smote the rock twice.
He hit the rock how often? Twice.
But what was he told though?
He was told to speak to it. That's what it,
Is that like him? Is that like his personality to deviate and not
no.
follow routine or
No.
instruction?
We just read how he did in Exodus. He did exactly what the Most High told him,
Come. That's not like Moses.
and he didn't impede the instructions.
Come.
He didn't interfere with the instructions because he grew impatient. He didn't let his lack of patience interfere with the instructions. But how often as leaders, you let the conditions, you let the scenario, you let what you're going through dictate your ability to follow instructions.
Right. Right.
Or you obstruct the Most High's ability to use you as a vessel because you got emotional. So because you get emotional, you cause a block and an interference and a hurdle in a way so that the Most High can't use you.
It's true.
Now, Award went over a great class on Monday about it is when you're being used that the Most High grants you longevity and grants you an extension of time. But when you start getting emotional, when you start putting your feelings in the way, and you start losing patience with your people, you start to obstruct that opportunity for the Most High to utilize you as a vessel. Read on.
And the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank.
Did the Most High not still give the people water?
The people still got what they needed to sustain them.
The people still got what they needed, even though Moses was incorrect in his instructions. Moses got emotional in dealing with his people as a leader. Now, Ecclesiastes chapter 16, verse 13. Keep that in mind. Moses got emotional as a leader.
Yeah.
Lost patience. Called his people Nimrods.
Ecclesiastes chapter 16, verse 13. The sinner shall not escape with his spoils.
Now, does the Most High let anybody get away scot-free?
Nope.
Now, we're going to read later on the repercussion and the consequence of Moses losing patience with his people. Obstructing the Most High's purpose, utilizing him as a vessel. There's a consequence to everything. Nobody gets away scot-free. When you let your emotions interfere with what the Most High is doing with you, the people still get fed, but you still gonna pay something for that. He said nobody get away scot-free. So if nobody's getting away scot-free, read it again.
God, verse 13. The sinner shall not escape with his spoils. And the patience of the godly,
It said, and the what?
and the patience of the godly shall not be frustrated.
So then, if a person is godly, will they ever get to the point where they're frustrated with the people?
Uh,
No. Why are we so mad at people? Why are we so mad? If the Most High said they're never going to get away from it, meaning nobody's getting away for being out of order, nobody, then why am I so offended at people? Anybody? What? Why am I?
If someone's out of spirit, they're not including the Most High in the equation. All you do is look at man. You forget that the Most High is the one that's in control of everything.
You forget that the Most High is in control? That's good to say. What else?
Not as godly as we think we are.
We're not as godly as we think we are?
Man, please.
We man-pleasing?
We expect the people to know. We expect the people to know how to behave, how to look at things, how to behave. Well, yeah, how to behave, how to act, how to think, how to have an outlook for something. We expect them. We have that boss mentality. You're supposed to know,
So it's an expectation over people's heads
right?
that they should know how to conduct themselves
How to
already.
Be a leader and be like, you know what? Let me train you. Let me show you the way you become boss. Be like, you're supposed to know already. We've
Right.
been through this already.
So if they knew already, would they have a need for of a leader? If they already knew,
Nope.
would you even have a purpose of being a leader if they knew? But those are good answers. Those are good answers because, like you said, we're not as godly as we think we are. We got expectations. Like my water, what'd you say?
Man, please.
We're man pleasing. What you got?
No, it would be a pride or unchecked pride within a person. You know,
Yeah.
we get this way, or I would get this way, because of a person. We would only get this way because there's pride that's unchecked. Whether it just hasn't been checked because of pride, a lack to get it checked. It's pride, just in general. I'm not going to get too worried. It's the pride. It didn't get checked, or we didn't want to get checked. It's just this time is going by, my pride is just boom. You know.
So if the Most High said nobody gets away with nothing, then why are we so offended at people's actions? All of them are great answers. You got something, sis? It's on your tongue. You got your head. Your hand went up and came back down.
I kind of stopped myself. But is it a lack of love for your people?
Well, let's find out. And we're shooting in the wind, you know. But we're gonna find out. Yes, sir.
Basically everything everyone else is saying, but bottom line, people are not recognizing that it's a test based on what you're learning.
That's another great answer.
I said our natural inclination, as the natural man's inclination, I'll say, is to point the finger and place the blame on someone when you mess up, when you fail, when you do something off. It's always somebody else's. Well, if you didn't do this in the first place, then I wouldn't have made that mistake. We're always our first inclination is the natural man is to point the finger.
Or to discharge blame. I can see that. But what happens when somebody else is doing something that's out of order? But why is it bothering me so much?
Because it hinders me. Because when somebody else is out of order, as a leader, you have to condescend to men of low estate. So I have to follow your pace, your developmental pace, how fast you want to grow, how fast you don't want to grow, and I have to literally be at your beck and call whenever you want to sit here and make a decision, make a choice about changing. But the problem with that is you can't progress with that lifestyle. You're literally at your growth or we call it growth because there's a spiritual growth to that. But you can't go on to your next quote unquote task, your next quote unquote objective. Because we don't think Moses wanted to go on to the new land. He wanted to go on to the new kingdom. You don't think he was tired of walking the wilderness for 40 years as well? But the problem is I can't even get out of this place until you all figure out as a unit, as a body, that you need to change. And the elements that you're not changing, I've been seeing this for 40 years straight. This is the second generation he's dealing with. I saw your parents do the exact same thing. At this point, he's old. He's an older man. He's already at this point 100 something years old, 120 something years old.
Not,
Dealing with
he, died,
this-
he died at 120.
The
He's
same
he's up
issues
there.
that- same issues that.
Same doubt, same circumstance, same blame, same fault,
Damn.
same excuses.
Damn.
But let's find out what Christ said about this. Because the question that's asked is, why does somebody else's inability to have faith bother me so much? Why does it bother me? Why am I so frustrated at other people knowing that no matter what they do, they're not going to get away with it?
Yeah.
Most I don't let nobody get away with nothing. But why am I so offended at people?
I would think, this is a guess at the win, is that I want their liberty also.
Oh, man.
'Cause that's a major issue people deal with. Why are you so upset? You're so mad.
Yeah.
You're bothering me so much. Part of that is the natural instinct. I want the freedom and liberty that this person has that I'm not. There's mistakes that other men can do that other men can't do. If they do it, he gets mercy from the Most High. Because you're older and you do it, Most High gonna sting you more.
Yeah.
Because you know better. And certain men have a longer leash than other men. So
Mhm.
that's part of the frustration also.
Okay.
Isn't it inconvenience to me? I gotta deal with it. I gotta be around it.
Let's find out what Christ said. All of those are great answers. All those are great. Let's see what Christ said. Go to Revelation chapter 2, verse 2. Read that.
Revelation chapter 2 and verse 2. I know thy works.
Christ said what?
I know thy works.
Christ said, if anybody understand, who understand?
Christ.
If anybody know how that feel, to have to subject yourself to be amongst people that blame you and accuse you, and you got to suffer for them,
This is dope.
who understands?
I'm sure.
Christ understand. That's why he said, I know what?
I know thy
He
works.
said, I know what you're going through. If anybody can relate, Christ can relate. Like all those answers were great. All of them were correct in a sense. Read on.
And thy labor.
He said, and I know how hard you're working to do the Most High's objective. Read on.
And thy patience.
He said, and these people are testing your what?
Patience.
Man, they got your patience wearing real thin. You about to snap any moment. You about to lose it. Does it sound like Christ understands?
Wow.
Does it sound like he can relate?
Wow.
He's very familiar with struggling, having to lead people who don't look at him in the same light that he deserves. Read on.
And how thou canst not bear them which are evil.
And they said, you can't bear people that are what?
Evil.
He said, man, you can't stand people that are evil. Can't stand them.
Come.
Damn.
He said, you ain't got no tolerance for them. You ain't got no patience for them. They pushing your patience. They wearing your patience out. You using patience. You working hard. You laboring. You're trying to be a good leader. You're trying to be a good brother. You're trying to be a good friend. You're trying to reach out to them. You're trying to help them. He said, and you can't bear them that what?
Which are evil.
He said, that sounds familiar, right? Go to 2 Peter real quick, chapter 2, verse 6. In 2 Peter, hold where we at in Revelation.
Second Peter chapter 2, verse 6. And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes.
So the Most High, we know, turned the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. 5 cities, actually. 2 largest being Sodom and Gomorrah. He said, turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into what?
Into ashes.
Read on.
Condemned them with an overthrow.
He said he overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah with fire and brimstone. Read on.
Making them an ensample.
He said the Most High made Sodom and Gomorrah an ensample, a living
A
example,
living example.
that nobody gets away with nothing. Nobody's going to get away with anything. Read verse 4.
Second Peter chapter 2, verse 4. For if the Most High spared not the angels that sinned.
So Do the angels get away with anything?
No.
So does anybody get away with negligence or a lack of following, being disrespectful, sinning, being out of order? Does anybody get a pass? Oh man, everybody has to answer for everything. He said, "For he spared not what?
Not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment."
So now go back to verse 6.
Verse 6. And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample unto those that after should live ungodly.
He said Sodom and Gomorrah should have been an example for anybody to decide if they wanted to live ungodly. What would the Most High do to you if you decide to live ungodly?
Make you a living example.
He'll make you a living example. That's what Sodom and Gomorrah was about. So you could take that situation and say, I'm not going to get away with my sins. Read on.
Verse 7.
Yep.
Come. And delivered just Lot,
It said, and the Most High delivered just Lot. Read on.
vexed with the filth.
Now, was Lot happy about being in Sodom and Gomorrah?
No,
No.
he did not want to be there.
Was Lot enjoying his stay in Sodom and Gomorrah? Did he like his neighbors?
No,
Did he like his neighborhood? Was he a man of the community?
no.
Was he a part of the HOA, Housing Association,
Neighborhood watch.
Neighborhood Watch?
He was in the neighborhood.
So, was he at the meetings, at the housing meetings? No, he wasn't. He said Lot, he said he delivered Lot, who what?
And delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation.
It says Lot was vexed. He was bothered. He said by the what?
by the filthy conversation.
bro.
He said they vexed his soul. He said their conversation vexed his soul. What else?
Vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. For that the righteous man dwelling among them, in seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul.
It said, and seeing, watching what they do, and listening to the nature of their conversation, it said it bothered him, it pricked him at his soul. It had a deep-seated effect on him. But did it ever say that Lot, as vexed as he was, did they ever say he hated the people? Did you read that he hated the people? What did it say that he hated?
The conversation.
He hated the conversation. Read it again.
Verse 8.
Read verse 7.
Verse 7. And delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation
It
of
said
the wicked.
he was vexed with what?
The filthy conversation.
Did it say he was vexed because of the people?
The filthy conversation.
What was it about the people that he was vexed about?
The filthy conversation.
But was it the people themselves?
Conversation.
So
It's easy to say the people, though.
it's easy to say the people.
So there's a difference.
There is a difference.
Okay.
There's a difference when you know how to separate the sin from the sinner. But a good leader knows how to do that. See, a good leader knows how to separate the sin between the sin and the sinner. I don't like what you're saying. Not saying I hate you. I don't like how you're speaking. I don't like what you do. I don't hate you. I don't like your actions. I don't like your conversation. I don't hate you. It said what vexed Lot was the conversation and their what? Read verse 8.
For that righteous man dwelling among them, in seeing and hearing, vexed with his righteous soul from day to day.
It says from how often?
Day to day.
On a daily basis. From day to day. Read.
Says vexed with his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds.
With their unlawful actions. So what vexed Lot was their speech and their actions. He didn't say he hated the people. Read on.
Verse 9. The Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished.
Who's going to punish them?
The Most High.
The Most High. Lot was vexed. Get the definition of vexed. Lot was vexed. But he was vexed at their speech. He was vexed at their conversation.
And
He was
unlawful
vexed
deeds.
at their deeds, their unlawful deeds.
God.
He didn't say he hated the people.
It been easy to do that though.
Right.
Come.
Get the definition of vexed, and we're going back to Revelation chapter 2.
You want vex with the E
X.
D at the end?
V-E-X.
V, okay, got that. Vex, 1828 Webster Dictionary. To irritate.
Mhm.
To make.
So did Sodom and Gomorrah irritate him?
Come.
Damn right.
Hard place to be at.
They talking nasty.
Yeah, God.
They talking.
Yeah.
They got a lot of P. Diddy jokes.
Yeah.
The diddler. Read on.
Probably parties too.
Did he do it? Did do it?
That's the joke, guy.
That's the joke, guy.
That's the joke. I never heard that. That's funny.
To
He said it irritated him. What else?
to irritate. To make angry by little provocation.
It says to make angry by little provocation. We just read how Moses lost patience. He lost patience. And he got out of order. He wasn't told to call them Nimrods. And how long we got to give you water. His job was to be the vessel that the Most High was using to administer and dispense the water. The Most High knows how to punish unrighteousness. He said he was irritated. He was what?
To disturb. To disquiet. To agitate.
Yes, it was agitating him for what they were saying and what they were doing. Let that go and go back to Revelation chapter 2, verse 2.
Revelation chapter 2 and verse 2. I know thy works, and thy labor, and thy patience, and how thou canst not bear them which are evil.
And can we say that Lot had a hard time living in Sodom and Gomorrah?
God.
Lot stayed at the gates of the city. He didn't even want to be in the city. He stayed at the gates of the city.
You couldn't go deep in the city.
He get caught up in the city.
Come.
But Christ said, I understand. I know how that feels. I can relate. Read on.
And thou hast tried them, which say they are apostles, and are not.
And he said, I understand also how you could recognize who's a real leader and who's not a real leader. False leaders, false teachers. Read on.
And has found them liars.
And they're what?
Liars.
Read on.
And has borne. And has
It
patience.
said when it has born, meaning you born labor. Have born, meaning you've been laboring. You've been working. Read on.
Come. And for my name's sake.
It said, and has patience. You've been using patience. And for my name's sake, go ahead.
Has labored.
Read on.
And has not fainted.
And you haven't what?
Fainted.
And you've been holding yourself accountable. And you haven't been weak. Read on.
Nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee.
He said, but with all that being said, there's something wrong with you. There's an issue that I have. There's an ought that Christ has against us. With all that being said, he recognizes the fact that we don't like evildoers. We don't like evil deeds. We can't bear them that are evil. We're having a hard time putting up with them that are evil. They're pushing our patience. They're intolerable. They're hard to handle, hard to put up with. He said, but with all that being said, he said, there's still something wrong with you. Read.
Because thou hast left thy first love.
He says, you left your what?
First love.
He says, you left your first love. Let's find out what that is. Go to Jude chapter 1. And give me, there's only one chapter in Jude. Give me 1 and 21, verse 21.
God.
He said, this is where you slipped at. This is where you slipped. And this is where you fell.
God. Jude chapter 1 and verse 21.
Remember the question was, why does other people's mistakes and issues and sins make us so angry and we're so frustrated at people? Why are we so frustrated at somebody else's mistakes? Why are we so vexed at other people's sins? Read.
Jude chapter 1, verse 21 reads.
Good to see him smiling. Read.
Ready?
Yep.
Keep yourselves in the love of the Most High.
It says the problem that Christ has is you didn't keep yourself in the what?
In the love of the Most High.
He said you detach yourself from being in love with who?
With the Most High.
So the sister was right. You ran out of love. That's what you said, right, sis? Your love started slipping. You know what that means? When you and then we'll see how other answers were correct. He says, keep yourself in the what?
In the love of the Most High.
Go ahead.
Looking for the mercy.
It said because you understand that you are looking for what?
For the mercy.
You're looking for mercy. So when you stop looking for mercy, how do you treat other people? Say again? Right, you start to become unmerciful. Because you stop looking for what?
Mercy.
You stop looking for mercy. See, what he's showing is this. He's showing that if I'm looking for mercy, as long as I'm looking for mercy from the Most High, which means that I have a heightened awareness and I'm very conscious of my mistakes and my dependence upon the Most High, then I'm ready to distribute mercy at all times.
That makes sense.
See, this is how you retain your love for the Most High. You always become dependent upon Him. Because you know that you're disqualified. And as long as you know you need the Most High's mercy, you'll always be ready to dispense it.
I'm aware and I'm conscious.
And I'm conscious.
Because if I become unconscious that I need the Most High's mercy, I'm just not aware of the Father.
That's when, like Yahweh said, that's when my pride kicks in.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Or that's when, like Amiyati said, I start expecting people to know what's right. Why do I start expecting people to know what's right? Because I don't got no mercy for them anyway. I'm running out of mercy anyway. So I expect you to know better because I don't really have more mercy to give you. So I'm running out of mercy. So you better get this right. Because you're trying my patience now. Now you're working my nerves. So you got to understand. You better understand this now. So now, this is when other people's mistakes start affecting us. Is when we stop looking at the Most High knowing that we need His mercy. We become detached from Him. This is when you start violating people.
And this does happen in a leadership position over time. You get a person pushed out that position over time also because they won't have the skill set necessary to interact with the people.
They don't.
I'll lose the skill set to interact with the people.
They absolutely. You know what? They don't have the skill set because they don't have the virtue. I don't have the virtue necessary to be a leader of my people. Ephesians chapter 6, and we're going to come right back to this point. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 7. And we're going to come back to where we're at in Jude.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 7.
Everybody get it. Go ahead.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 7. It says, with good will.
It says, with what?
With good will.
How should I engage my people?
With good will.
Meaning, what is goodwill?
Good intention.
Goodwill meaning I have good intentions. I have a good motivation. I have a good desire. Meaning I want goodwill means you want to see the best for people. You want the best for the other person. He says with goodwill, meaning I want to make sure that they excel. I want to see them succeed, and I want to see them do right. And I want what's right for them. He says with goodwill, go ahead.
Doing service.
It says doing service. Read on.
as to the Lord and not to men.
So I'm leading people knowing that who's watching me? The Most High is watching me. Because I'm in need of what?
His mercy.
I'm in need of his mercy. So me knowing that I need the Most High's mercy keeps my goodwill intact when I'm dealing with my people. See, when I start losing love, I get detached from thinking that I need the Most High. That's where the pride is at. And then when the pride kicks in, then I feel like I can treat people however I want and be justified.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to get out of line with them. Now I'm starting to talk to them a certain kind of way, disrespectful. Now I start to treat them a certain way because I'm detached from who? The Most High.
Like a Pharisee.
Like a Pharisee.
It's Pharisee. Yeah.
I'm detached. So when I become detached to the Most High, the people suffer.
That's true.
Because I forget that I'm in need. Read on. Yawab.
It says, verse 7, it says, with goodwill doing service as to the Lord and not to men.
And this is what Christ said, I got something against you. He said, you lost your first love. Who was you in here to please to begin with?
The Father.
The Most High. You in here you supposed to be doing the work of the Most High. Who did Moses forget that he was doing the work of? The Most High. That's why it says, how long must we give you water to drink?
Hold on, yeah.
What did Moses say? You didn't catch that? Go back real quick, because you got to catch that. Go back to Numbers real quick. Read verse 13.
Numbers
20. Chapter 20, verse 13.
chapter 20 and verse 13. This is the water of Meribah, because the children of Israel strove with the Lord, and he sanctified in them.
Now read verse 10.
Come. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock. And he said unto them,
He gave him a speech before he did what he was told. The Most High told Moses, speak to the rock and the water will come out. Moses gathered them together and gave him a speech. Gave him a briefing before he brought the water out. Moses interjected what? Himself. His feelings. And did what? Read.
Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock?
Who was actually the one bringing the water?
The Most High.
But who did he say was doing it?
Him.
Him and Aaron.
That's how he felt, though. That's how he felt.
He took the credit.
He took the credit, but he also lost patience.
Yeah.
He also was frustrated
Yeah.
with the people by this point. And he detached from the Most High at that moment. The moment he got frustrated with his people, he was detached from the Father. And this is why Christ said, I got something against you. You working hard. You suffering. You can't bear them which are evil. You're bearing weight. You got weight on your shoulders. He said, but you lost your first love. You forgot who you're doing this for. See, when men forget who they're working for, then they grow bitter. And they get detached. And then the people suffer. Then they get frustrated at every mistake that people make. Now I'm so angry at people. You're supposed to be a servant anyway. All you're supposed to have is goodwill. Who are you talking to this way? Why are you talking to the people this way? Why are you getting all emotional because somebody's vexing you? These are not your people anyway.
Yeah, they're not your children.
They're not your children. You're just the vessel. That's why Christ said, I got a problem with you. You can't, you've grown detached from the person that you're supposed to stay in love with. Now we got that? We catch that part? The mistake Moses made? Now let that go back to Ephesians. And read chapter 6 and get that verse 7 through 9.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 7. With goodwill doing service as to the Lord and not to men.
So if I'm doing this for the Most High, will the sins and the mistakes of the people ever get me angry? I'm just so angry at them. We already read that nobody gets away with nothing. Who gonna get them anyway?
Well, I get that vexed.
So why would I get so angry at people? Why do people bother me so much? Because there's something wrong with me. I'm detached from the Most High. What I'm supposed to possess is goodwill. I want to see the best for my people. That's all you're supposed to do. Be a vessel that has a good desire to see your people succeed. Elevate your nation. Read on.
Verse 8. Knowing that whatsoever good thing any man doeth,
It said you're supposed to know that for every good thing you do, read on.
the same shall he receive of the Lord.
So you're gonna get what you give. What happens when I start getting irritated at people? Yeah, Most High gonna get irritated at me. Yeah. What happens when I start losing patience with people? The Most High gonna lose patience with me. What happens when I start being irate and calling people Nimrods?
Most High gets irate with me and deals with me like that.
The Most High gonna, whatever I do to them, the Most High is gonna in turn deliver me the same judgment. I get the same perspective that I have towards people. Read on.
Whether he be bond or free.
It don't matter your position. Doesn't matter your position. You're going to get what you give. So when you grow detached from the Father and you start talking crazy to your people because you lost patience with them, and you start talking crazy to people that you're supposed to be an example to and a leader to, then there's something that you're not conscious of. Read on.
Verse 9. It says, and ye, masters, do the same.
He's speaking to who?
Masterful leaders.
Leaders. He's speaking to leaders. Specifically to leaders. Read.
Do the same things unto them, forbearing threatening.
It says forbearing what?
Threatening.
That's why Moses called them what? Nimrods, man. Moses was by this time Moses was upset. He had lost patience with his people already. They say, when people say, oh, he's getting old and ornery. He's just getting old and ornery. No, he ain't got time for that. He's losing patience. We don't even get to Moses' age and already be vexed with people. We don't even be half of Moses' age and we can't stand what people do. And we're so offended at each other. We're so offended at each other. So easily offended. No, you're extremely detached is what you are.
That's the true state.
Yeah. And that's why the love is short. Because you've grown detached from a consciousness of the Most High. You're just a vessel. You're just a servant. Read verse 9 again.
Ephesians chapter 7, verse 9. And ye, masters, do the same things unto them, forbearing threatening, knowing that your master also is in heaven.
You got somebody that's watching you too.
You have leadership too.
You got leadership too. You got somebody that can turn their perspective on you as well. You got somebody that can look at you and be so frustrated with you. I'm so angry. Ooh, this person just get under my skin. Ooh, I just can't stand this person. Ooh. Well, you know what? Most I can double that up. He can return the favor.
It goes both ways.
It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. But how come we can be so angry at people? Because you're detached from the Father already. That's the first symptom. You're not conscious anymore of the Most High. You're not conscious of the fact that you got a master in heaven watching everything that you do, and he's going to return everything you do back on you. There's a consequence to everything. Now go back to Jude chapter 1 and read verse 22.
Jude chapter 1, verse 22 reads, and of some have compassion.
It said that's why with some of our people, it takes what?
Compassion.
You gotta have extra levels of what?
Compassion.
Compassion. You in order to have goodwill to our people and to never lose patience with our people, You got to put on compassion. And if you don't know what that is, because you're so frustrated with your people, first of all, you're not going to be a good leader if you're blocking what the Most High is trying to use you for. If you're impeding the message to the people
with our mentality.
with your frustrated mentality. Because everybody vexes you. Every scenario vexes you. You're not a good leader then.
No, because I'm always in that perpetual state of anger.
I'm always emotional at other people's situations or conditions.
What Scripture says on a basic level, anger rests in the bosom of a fool.
Yep.
So if I'm perpetually in this state, then I'm perpetually foolish in this position.
Yep.
Is that safe to say?
That's very safe to say. Read that verse 22.
Come. And of some have compassion, making a difference.
He said, and how you make sure that you get past being grievous and vexed at your people. He says you got to put on extra levels of compassion. It makes a huge difference. It makes a difference in their reception and their change. It makes a difference in them understanding what you're trying to give them. When you see parents, you see leaders, you see good parents, you see bad parents. Bad parents have no patience for their kids. They have no patience whatsoever. Every mistake, they just get clowned, whooped, interrogated, beat, smacked, hurt, bruised. They got no patience. Good parents subdue their emotions, look at the scenario, and try to make it a lesson. And try to make sure that, okay, let me detach my feelings. Let me not be so angry at what this child is doing, because we know the scriptures say foolishness is bound in the heart of what? A child. So they're going to do foolish things. So let me detach my emotions in order to instill a lesson or allow this person to see something a certain way. Let me rearrange and tweak what it is that I'm trying to dispense to them. You can see it all day long. But a bad parent has no time to explain nothing. It's either do what I say or get beat. There is no explanation. There is no understanding. The understanding is pain. I'm going to make you suffer. He said, but that doesn't always work with people. He said some people, you have to show them compassion in order to motivate them to change. He said that is what makes a difference with some people. You can't be one-dimensional. Everybody just get on my damn nerves. That can't be the answer all the time when somebody don't understand your perspective. You're just getting under my skin. That's always the answer? So what he's saying is some people need compassion in order for them to receive what it is that you're trying to give them. Read.
Verse 23. And others,
he said, and some have compassion. He said, making what?
Making a difference.
Somebody get 2 Timothy 2 and 24. 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 24. Read this.
2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 24.
Yes, sir.
And the servant of the Lord must not strive.
It said the servant of the Lord should strive.
Must not strive.
Strive means to fight and to debate and to go back and forth. So I should struggle with you, argue with you, fight with you every day.
Should not strive.
It said the servant of the Lord must not what?
Must not strive.
Read.
But be gentle unto all men.
It says, but do you know how to get the best out of your people? Do you know what it takes to motivate your people? So not everybody is going to move because you say so and you scream it and you yell it at the top of your lungs, or you ridicule, or you mock, or you chastise, or you just beat the living crap out of them. Some people are not going to listen this way. He said, in meekness, you do what?
Instructing those that oppose you.
Read it again.
God, the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men.
Gentle means kind. You know what it takes to motivate some people? Some people need kindness. Like we just read about having goodwill. I want to see you succeed. When people can't interpret what the message is, it confuses them. You say you have my best interest at heart, but you scream at me all day long. You say you love me, but all you do is beat me. Isn't that confusing?
Come. It's a mixed message.
It's a mixed message. I can't tell what it is. So some people you gotta be meek. Some people you gotta be kind to them. You gotta be nice to them. You gotta be patient with them. It says some require gentleness. What else?
Apt to teach.
And you have to be qualified to do what?
Teach.
Be emotional.
Teach.
Be irate.
Teach.
Lose patience.
Teach.
Get upset.
Teach.
Be angry for every mistake they make.
Teach.
What must you be qualified to do when people make mistakes?
Teach.
So people need instruction. They need instruction. But they don't always need violence. Violence mixes and blurs the lines of the instructions. You think they're going to hear you more because you beat them? I got to read this right here. Let me see.
You said you must be qualified to what?
It said apt to teach. I gotta read this real quick. Let me see where it is. Let me read. I gotta read this piece right quick. No, yeah, read this for me real quick. I gotta find it real fast. Read this for me real fast. Read this right quick. This is in the Philo, page 888. Read this. It's what it says. If when a pupil.
If, when a pupil is first introduced to you.
It said when you're trying to cater to somebody, teach them, raise them up, show them something, instruct them, lead them on in a positive way in life. Read.
And first comes to learn of you.
Go ahead. They got something that they need to learn from you, and they have something that you can offer them. Read on.
You hasten to eradicate all his ignorance
It
at
says
once.
what you can't do is, can you remove a lifelong amount of ignorance at one moment out of a person? People have grown habitually negative in their nature, or they've learned or been groomed the wrong way. How many of us have been brought up the wrong way? You can get upset that they're not changing fast enough. So you're saying in your mind, you know what? I'm gonna try to drop this message on this person at one time because I want to see them grow and I want to see them change by tomorrow.
No.
So I'm gonna do everything in my power, and I'm gonna stay up all day and all night, and I'm gonna force feed this information to them because I'm gonna get them to try to change and see the light at one time. He said when you got somebody that's new, that's trying to learn, it said you hasten, meaning you quickly try to remove all their folly, all their ignorance, and all their irregular thinking patterns at one time. Read on.
It says, you hasten to eradicate all his ignorance at once and attempt to introduce every kind of knowledge in a lump.
In a what?
In a lump.
So when you try to force you trying to strip this person of their foolishness and try to impart new knowledge into them all at once. Christ said what? New wine, you can't put new wine in what?
In old bottles.
In old bottles. Why?
Else they will burst.
Else they will burst and the wine should be wasted.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense now.
He said you can't put a new patch on what?
Old garment.
Old garment. He said, or the rent
Will be worse.
shall be made worse.
Yeah.
You can't take a lifelong of ignorance out of a person and impart what you're trying to teach them in one day.
That's stupidity.
You're force feeding this individual with information that they cannot contain, and they're not changing because you're impatient with them.
The passion is correct.
No, the passion is from impatience.
Come.
The passion the desire to see them do good is
Correct.
is correct. But the scripture in 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 2 says, as newborn babes
Yeah.
sincerely desire the milk of the word and grow thereby.
And grow their body.
How do people grow? Like newborn babies, you have to give them, when babies are born, their stomach can only handle about an ounce or two of milk. You don't even go past an ounce or two. And you got the nipple on the little tiniest little hole. You got the little hole with the little, on the nipple that it's dispensing it at very, slow levels. But when you can squeeze about a little stream come out. That's about it. And then you have to feed them. You can't even force feed them fast because their stomach can't handle it. They'll vomit. They'll puke on you. That's why you gotta stop after about an ounce. Then you gotta pick them up. You gotta burp them. You gotta let that ounce go down. And then once they, you know what I'm saying? That too. Then you put them back, hit them again with another ounce if they're ready, and then they knocked out. They milk drunk. They sleep. They knocked out. But over time, that little ounce ain't doing nothing. They get out. They finish it. Then they suck in air. They look at it. They throw it. Then they cry. You know what I'm saying? Then they cry. They like, man, I need some more. This ain't enough. Then they're ready for more. He said, but like people are that way also. They don't come into this knowledge ready to change on your pace. So what good is it you being angry at people that are still in learning mode? Why are you so angry at people that are still in baby mode? Like Amiatia said, because you expect them to know by now. Well, how can you expect a baby to be able to digest what they can't digest? Why are you trying to give them cereal? Because you got to go to work in the morning, so you're trying to thicken up the milk and add knowing damn well their body ain't ready to handle that cereal yet, but you're trying to thicken it up so you can put them to sleep, and so you get an extra hour or 2 or 3 because you're being inconvenienced and you don't want to be inconvenienced, so you're forcing the baby to eat French fries at 2 months old. Brother, it gets bad, bro. Parenting gets bad because they're getting Kool-Aid. They're getting Kool-Aid and juice, or whatever they can find, because you just want to shut the baby up because you're impatient, because you don't have no damn patience, because you don't have no gentleness, because you're not gentle, because you're not kind. So you're trying to force this knowledge in a lump form. You can't do that to a baby, and you can't do that to a grown man who's been living in the world all their life, and you expect them to change because you came along and you got something to show them, and you expect them to change on the drop of a dime. They're not going to change that way. Neither can you force them to change that way. People need time to change, and they need kindness and patience while doing so. It's their unbelief that's in question, not yours. You're just a minister. Their unbelief is to their own detriment, not yours. You supposed to be the believer. He said what?
You will produce the contrary effect.
He said what happens when you try to force feed, push information, force somebody to change, and they're barely on an elementary level?
You will produce the contrary effect.
What happens when you get angry because people ain't changing on your pace?
You will produce the contrary effect.
So, what is the contrary effect of growth?
No.
What's the opposite of growth?
Or death, quitting.
Failure.
Mission?
Failure. A decline. So what happens is when you don't know how to dispense the knowledge correctly due to the fact that you're impatient, due to the fact that you're emotional, or you're irrational, or you're being inconvenienced, you diagnose or feed or nurture the person that needs your help, that has what you have to give them, because you have defects in your leadership, whether it be parenting as mothers, parenting as fathers, as brothers, or as teachers. If there's a defect in you, the people suffer. It's a contrary effect. They don't grow they don't grow at the time you want them to grow just because you're tired, because you're inconvenienced. The baby gonna sleep because you tired? Or is the baby gonna fall asleep when they're ready to go to sleep? When they're comfortable? It's not on your schedule. So if you got to be made uncomfortable as a parent, then that's what your job is. Your job is to be gentle. Your job is to be kind. Who gives a damn if you're inconvenienced? Your job is to see goodwill for the baby. It's not just for your. I talked to a guy just yesterday. He was trying to sell me something, and we had a little dialogue. And he said, you got any kids? I said, yeah, I got kids. I said, you got any kids? He said, yeah, I got I finally got I'm 35 years old. I got a 2.5-month-old child. I said, congratulations. He said, what I'm learning is my child doesn't do nothing for me, but I have to do everything for him, and I have to be okay with that. And he's struggling.
Accepting that.
This guy is struggling. That, first of all, you couldn't have kids. You just told me your wife was having miscarriages. So you got a miracle baby. Miracle baby just came out your mouth. Right after you said miracle baby, you admit that you're struggling taking care of this baby and having enough love to give this baby because you keep saying this child does nothing for me. Well, we didn't have enough time to hit these scriptures up. But like I explained them to him, somebody give me Ecclesiastes chapter 3. I'm just going off this conversation.
It's a wild conversation.
That's what's going on. Same with other things too.
Give me Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 12.
Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 12. My son, help thy father in his age,
Go ahead.
and grieve him not as long as he liveth.
Read.
And if his understanding fail, have patience with him,
Go ahead.
and despise him not when thou art in thy full strength.
See, people despise people when they're in their what?
Full strength.
See, I'm in my full strength, so it's easy for me to say this child do nothing for me. But like I told the guy, I said, you're not going to be young forever. I said, now who's going to push you when you're old? Who's going to oversee your care when you can't take care of yourself? I said, if you don't treat this child right now, you don't treat this child the way you should right now, like I told the guy yesterday, then you know what? You can despise this child. I didn't like the fact that the guy kept saying, this child does nothing for me. Like, you don't understand the benefit of children then.
2 months year old?
Yeah, 2.5 months. Because you just said it was a miracle baby. You just said y'all had miscarriages. You just said y'all weren't supposed to have children. Now you're saying this child does nothing for me. Don't you understand? You can say that with ease because you're in your full strength. You in your strength right now. You don't see the need that child pushing you down in a wheelchair, helping you up to get off the toilet, to get in the bathtub when you can't take a bath. I can say that because I'm my father's caregiver. And it's not easy. And I know for those that's listening online, they understand for those that have to do that, it's another level of humility when you got to wipe your own parents' butt. And I don't say that to gross nobody out. I don't say that to despise the position. But you better dig deep in another bucket of compassion when you got to wipe grown man poop. And you got to bathe your family members and clean them. And feed them and get cussed out while doing so. And dress them. There's an old saying, once a man, twice the child. And that's the truth. You're not always going to be in your strength. You can despise your kids now all you want. You're not always going to be in your strength. You can be on a high horse now, that body withers. And so does that mind. Then you're going to be real mad when your kids don't have nothing to do with you. They don't want to call you. They don't want to visit. They don't want to monitor your medications. They don't want to check on you. They don't want to go into the nursing facility. They don't want to change your bed sheet. They don't want to advocate for you. You don't know what the hell's going on. You're being neglected. You got bed sores. Nobody rolling you over. Nobody flipping you over. You in there by yourself, getting abused and taken advantage of. Laying in urine for hours. You can despise the position now. You don't see the benefits later. And this is what happens when people are inappropriate in their perspective towards how they should treat people. You mad at your own damn child because your child screams out, he cries. This child does nothing for me, but I got to do everything. You was going to have to go to work anyway. You had to do that anyway. You had to pay bills anyway. What's the difference? What's a couple of Pampers? That's not going to change nothing. But you know what? This is what happens when people lose patience and they don't want to have the kindness and the gentleness of what it takes to tolerate people, even their own family members. He said, what do? They said they have a contrary effect. That's bad leadership. You have the wrong damn effect on the people that you're trying to instruct because you're intemperate, because you're emotional, because you lose patience, because you can't contain yourself, because you're so vexed and irritated. Now the people suffer because you're unqualified to lead because you got too much emotion involved. That contrary effect will do what? Read on.
To that which you desire. For it will not be likely that such an eradication, having taken place all in a moment, will continue effectually.
Read that part again.
Says right here, you will produce the contrary effect to that which you desire. For it will not be likely that such an eradication, having taken place all in a moment.
It says you can't eradicate a lifetime of somebody's ignorance in a moment. What is it going to take to remove ignorance out of people?
Non-stop, overtime.
It's going to take a lot of patience. It's going to take a lot of compassion. Give me 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 7. And this is what Elisha said earlier of why people get so angry because of other people's errors. You mentioned the fact that it bothers me, it slows me down.
Okay.
Read this right here.
1 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 7. But we were gentle among you.
It said what?
But we were gentle among you.
It said, Paul said what? We were what?
Gentle among you.
We just read that if you're going to be a good leader, you got to be what?
Gentle.
You got to be gentle. You got to be kind. Nobody is acquiring what you have to offer when your disposition is always irate. When you're always disgruntled, you're always irritated, you're always emotional, nobody's going to acquire what you have to offer. Nobody listening to that. They're not receiving that. They're not receptive. You've blocked their receptors from receiving information because you're impatient, because you're irate, because you don't have any kindness, because you don't have any gentleness, because you're being made uncomfortable. That's why Paul said what?
But we were gentle among you.
That's why Paul said when we was amongst you in Thessalonica, in the church of Thessalonica, he said our disposition was gentle to you. What does that do? Read on.
As a nurse cherisheth her children.
As a nurse does what?
Cherishes her children.
Like a nurse cherisheth her children. Like a patient mother with children. Knowing, studying every cry. See, a mother knows every little cry, every little whimper, every little sound, because they study the child. They know that's not a real cry. That baby just want to be picked up. They know that baby just wet. The diaper. That baby's got gas. That baby's colicky. That baby's irritated. That baby's not comfortable. The baby's not comfortable. The baby's pulling. The baby got an earache. Something's wrong with the baby. The baby's pulling on the ear and screaming. Okay, let me do some investigation. See, that's what it takes to deal with our people. But our people don't have what it takes to really be good leaders. Sorry to say it, but good parents, good leaders, we be real shoddy at that because we're too emotional on the inside. We're too agitated to give the people what they need in order to grow. We can have something to give them, but it's always, our emotions are always interfering with it. With what we have to offer. All the good is being washed down the drain because we're so angry and so vexed and can't bear them which are evil or that just make me uncomfortable. He said, as what?
As nurse cherishes her children, so being affectionately desirous of you.
He said, but this is how I'm affectionate towards you. This is the kind of compassion I have towards you, like equal to a nurse having little babies. This is my level of compassion to you. I know you're not gonna get this overnight, but because I gotta repeat myself, and I'm tired of repeating myself, like Amiate said, you should know by now. I've said this already. I thought I told you this already. How often do I gotta keep telling you this? Man, in order to train children, you gotta be on repeat. You gotta be like a broken record. You're gonna say stop about 100 million times. No, stop. Put that down. Go to bed. Clean up. Finish your food.
Yeah.
And you're gonna say that 100 million times. But why are you so angry? Why does it bother you so much? Because it's what you lack as a leader that's interfering with your ability to nurture somebody. And when you're ever in a hospital, there's good nurses, there's bad nurses.
That's true.
The good nurses smile every time they come in the room. They check your vitals. They try to cheer you up. They always ask if you need something. They're always trying to make you comfortable. Do you need ice chips? Do you need a warm blanket? Let me change out that cold blanket and give you a warm blanket. Let me check your vital signs. Have you eaten? When is the last time you eat? Oh, you need more drink? Let me bring more apple juice for you. Bad nurses, you don't even know they're in the room. They just writing on the chalkboard. They're writing on the dry erase board.
Yep.
And they're checking in. Your nurse today is Tabitha. Bridget will be your nurse today. They put their name on a little dry erase board. They put the time they got there, and they change out the gowns. They change out the damn IV, and they barely speak to you, and they go on to the next room. There's no kindness. There's no gentleness. You know what? You expect that when you ain't got no insurance. Cause that's what I do. I expect that treatment when I ain't got no insurance. Sometimes I ain't got no insurance. I expect that cold. You know, I'm doing my job. But when you got some insurance, the expectation goes up. I better not shake this cup and it ain't got no ice in it. I want 6 apple juices. Cause they only give you like 1 or 2 apple juices. They don't even fill a cup up. I need about 6 of those. I need to know where the graham cracker station is at. Where's the little pantry that y'all get all y'all materials from? Show me to the pantry room. I'm gonna raid all the graham crackers, all the little snacks. All your snacks are gone. I'm gonna eat all them snacks. Yes, sir.
After they make you fast for one day, they give you a full course meal.
Well, you know, we're going to get to that. It's a great point. I want you to bring that point up in just a minute, all right? I want you to bring this point up in just a minute. Just a minute. I want you to finish that, Dalia. That's a great point, my wall. I want you to bring that back up. Finish this right here.
It says right here. It says
And I take diapers, too.
Yeah.
I take diapers. I raid the diaper area. You know what I'm saying? I raided so many diapers one time with one of my kids. It was a year went by before I needed to buy diapers.
Damn. How you put that
But
on,
you didn't, but you didn't hear that from me. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm serious. I went a year without buying diapers.
That's
you know what? Hey, that insurance paid for that, bro. That's paid for.
Wow.
That was a blessing. that was a blessing.
That's thousands of diapers, huh?
It's all good. Hey, no, for real, you got to do what you got to do. Right? read that right there.
For it will not be likely that such an eradication.
It says it will not be likely that such an eradication, meaning it's not likely that you're going to change somebody, even if you are a teacher, even if you are an instructor, even if you are a guide to people. You're not going to change people overnight. It's not likely that you're just going to your wisdom and your few verses that you got. This person been listening for 25, 30 years. This person been this way for 40 years. Your little 2-bit wisdom is going to change this person's life in an instant, or are they going to take time and you got to give them milk, like the word says, like they shall grow like the sincere milk of the word in portions, in little ounces, little here mixed with a little bit of nurturing.
It's a weaning process.
A little bit of milk, a little bit of compassion. A little bit of milk, couple of scriptures, more love. Couple more scriptures, more patience. Couple more scriptures, more kindness. You got to mix that up. You just can't shove it down their neck. They're not going to change that way. Yes, sir. Right, and they love doing it too. You know, and it didn't vex them when you know, I remember I was at the grocery store buying some constipation medicine, and some African women saw me buying some baby constipation medicine, and they got mad at me. They got mad. They got real mad at me. The African women, they got mad. They said, no. You don't get a baby chemicals. They say you get a baby bath, you take the towel, you splash it on the butt, and the poop will come out. Wow. Don't buy that. They was mad. They you know what? They take motherhood and child rearing. We so quick to just buy something to fix the problem. They got natural remedies that they know that they've been using for years. But we so quick to just, I'm tired of hearing the baby cry. I want to fix the problem now. I don't want to do what it takes to not have a side effect. Fix the baby and then give a baby a side effect. Because Tylenol do that too. You give a baby too much Tylenol. But I want to rush. Now I'm tired now. I gotta go to sleep. So I gotta put a little extra Tylenol in the baby bottle. That's what bad parents do. And then they wonder why the children don't have appropriate functions, body wise, mental wise. Because they don't want to be inconvenienced any further than what they already are. So they try to just overdose the child. Yeah, but he says, it is what?
It says, it is not likely that such an eradication, having taken place all in a moment, will continue effectual.
It will not continue what?
Effectual. It won't be effective.
It's not effective. Mashing some information down somebody's throat because you're inconvenienced. And you're running short on compassion. You're running short on patience. So you just want to mush what you have to give to people. You actually have a contrary effect. Because it's not mixed in with love. And that's what Christ said. You're forgetting why you're doing it. And who you're doing it for. So your help or your advice or your counsel is not penetrating appropriately. Because it's too intermingled with vexation and irritation. That's why Moses said what he said. He had grew tired of having to deliberate for the Most High, for the people. He intervened his emotion. That's a big mistake. As any leader or parent. That's a huge mistake. Keep your emotions out of teaching. Keep your emotions out of giving lessons to people. Your emotions is not needed when you're trying to give somebody proper instruction. Yeah, it's one thing to be emotional because, well, we'll get to it. I don't want to jump ahead. It says what?
It says will continue effectual, nor that the pupil will be able at once to contain such an abundant influx.
It says it's too much for the pupil to eradicate everything they know, for you to try to strip away everything they know, and you to try to put all your knowledge into them. You can't put new wine in an old bottle. You can't force feed people because they're not growing on your time frame. Just like a baby, you can't make a baby be satisfied. You better be up, and sometimes you're gonna be up all night, especially if the baby ain't feeling good. Then guess who lose sleep? The parent loses sleep. A good parent will lose the sleep. Bad parents
Put me in the other room.
put them in another room, or
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say no names, but I've heard of a story where a parent locked a 2-year-old in the closet to go to the club. Locked the baby in the closet to hit the club up. Didn't want to hear him scream. Didn't want to hear nobody else hear him scream either. Baby had to cry themselves to sleep so they can get their drink on. They can get their party on. Because I don't want to be inconvenienced. That's what bad parents do. I still have a desire that I want to do, and this child is an inconvenience to my desire. So I'm gonna put my desires over the needs of the child. Sad story, but it's true. It's a true story. You lock a baby in the closet so you can go clubbing, or you neglect the child so you can go clubbing. You can satisfy your flesh. It said neither one of these ways work. Read.
Nor that a pupil will be able to at once to contain such an abundant influx and overflow of instruction, but being exceedingly perplexed and troubled.
It says you'll perplex the person when you're trying to make them change on your schedule, because although you have something to offer them, they're not changing fast enough. They're not getting it quick enough. You're starting to lose patience with people. He says then you're just mixing them. You're just mixing the message. You're destroying the good information that you have to offer them. Read on.
He will resist both these operations.
He's going to resist both. That means that this person is not going to give up the way they're thinking. Neither are they going to try to adopt your way of thinking. You just ruin that person. You just close that person off and shut that person down. And how many times do you see when you're trying to help people, they shut down but don't know why they shut down? They shut down because what? Because you were erratic. You had good information to give, but the method of how you dispensed it was horrible. You had no kindness mixed in. You had no patience mixed in. You had no love mixed in. You had no mercy mixed in. You were just tired of saying the same thing. You were tired of having to repeat yourself over and over. So therefore, you became a badass, horrible example of a parent, a leader, a guide, a teacher, a friend, a brother, whatever, so on and so forth. Because people vex you. Is it really the people, or is it really you? Is it really the condition, or is it really you? It's what you lack. This is why you can't feed the people appropriately. He said it makes it worse. Go ahead.
It says, he will resist both these operations, that by eradicating one thing and that of introducing another. But the system of taking away his ignorance with gentleness and moderation.
It says you got to take people's ignorance away with what?
Gentleness and moderation.
You can't force anybody to change on your schedule. You're at the mercy of the people that you're instructing. You're at their mercy. You're standing at their courtesy. Just like a parent, a child. That baby will stop crying when they want to. You can't muzzle their mouth. You can't put a pillow over their face. Bad parents do. You can't lock them in another room. Bad parents do. You can't turn the music up as if you can't hear them cry. Bad parents do. Or you can say, you're not going to eat at all. Bad parents do. You don't like what I have to give you? Well, don't eat. Or do I get creative? Good parents get creative. Good parents are patient enough. The scriptures say the patient of the godly should not be frustrated. When you lose patience, you lose creativity. That's with anybody. You can't think straight when you're impatient. When your patience is short. You can't create and become innovative with new ideas to motivate people when you're already frustrated. You're already out the spirit. But when you calm down for a minute and you relax, you can think clear. You're sober-minded. You can become innovative. You can become creative. You can create a game on the spot to make a child eat. Or you're patient enough to actually listen to what they have to say. I'm not perfect in my parenting. I know for a fact I'm short when it comes to patience. But I watch how just adding a little bit more mercy and a little bit more patience, the child will actually tell you what the problem is. Instead of me saying, I know what your damn problem is. This is your damn problem. You're tired. You need to take your butt to bed. That's your problem. Not knowing the child got a splinter in their finger. They don't know what a splinter is. They're irritated, but I ain't listened long enough. You know what I say? Give me your damn finger. Ain't nothing wrong with your finger. What's wrong with you? Get out of here. You just want some attention. Is it that? Or they do want some attention to remove what's ailing them. But a bad parent don't recognize that. Because that parent is already emotional. Who suffers? The child suffers. The students suffer when you're impatient. You don't have the patience necessary to deal with your people. They don't get the lessons for what you have to give them. So it becomes, your teaching becomes obsolete. It becomes fruitless and in vain. Because you didn't administer what you have to teach people with the proper virtues. Then the Most High can't use you. Finish that?
It says, and of, in the same manner, gently instilling wisdom into the mind, will be the cause of admitted advantage.
It says will be the cause of admitted what? Advantage. So when you mercifully, with kindness and meekness and gentleness, keep dealing with the problems that your people have, even if they don't get it yet, their understanding, they're at a loss in understanding. There's some ignorance involved. They're untaught, they're unlearned. But when you're patient and kind with your people and gentle with your people, and let them grow at the pace they need to grow at, your job is just to be like Paul said. I'm like a nurse to her children. That's how I'm going to deal with the church. I'm going to deal with you like a nurse to the children. Meaning I'm not going to get frustrated because you don't have it yet and you're bothering me. You're inconveniencing me. You're making me slow my life down to aid you. They're never going to get it. So now I'll go back to Jude. I know that's a lot for one verse. But go back to Jude chapter 1 and read verse 22.
Come. Jude chapter 1, verse 22 reads, and of some have compassion, making a difference.
And this is why compassion makes a difference. You understand that?
Come.
This is why compassion is better than trying to be angry at somebody. Because they're not doing what you want them to do. Or changing on your time frame. Sometimes compassion make a difference. Now we read also that in Timothy, somebody finished that in Timothy. We didn't finish that. Somebody else read 2 Timothy 2. Finish that in Timothy 24 down to 26. Yeah, finish that. Hold where you at, my Waller?
2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 24. We didn't finish 24.
Yeah, read that.
Starting at 24. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 24. And the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men.
Everybody deserves what?
Gentleness.
Everybody deserves kindness. Especially if you're leading them. They really need kindness. Read on.
Apt to teach.
And you can't be yelling at people. You can't force feed new information to them. You got to be apt to teach, qualified to teach. Knowing when to let up. Knowing what's too much. Knowing when you're pushing them too much. Knowing what they need more time. I got discretion. I can use discretion as I'm dealing with them. Read on.
Patience.
And they need what?
Patience.
They need patience. This is what changes people. People don't change overnight. Read on. Neither do they grow overnight. Read.
In meekness.
And also in what?
In meekness.
In meekness, you got to endure injury without resentment. You can't be frustrated because people ain't changing fast enough. Or people are inconveniencing you. I'm so frustrated at people. Then what's wrong with you? What did Christ say is wrong with you? You lost your first love. Meaning what? You detached from who? The Most High. And you stop looking for what? You stop looking for mercy. That's why you stop giving it. That's why you don't have no mercy left. Because you stop looking for it. Read.
God. In meekness, verse 25, in meekness instructing those that oppose themselves.
Who's their worst enemy?
Themselves.
They're their own worst enemy. Why are you so angry? That person is their worst enemy. Is not beneficial to themselves. Why are you so mad? Why does it bother you so much? You just that zealous for righteousness? All right, okay. Yeah, I'm jealous for you, Lord.
Yeah.
You're just that zealous for righteousness. So you're just so angry that people are wicked. Read.
God. In meekness instructing those that oppose themselves.
Read.
If the Most High peradventure.
It said, but if you be kind and gentle with compassion and patient and merciful, there's a chance that the Most High will do what?
Give them repentance to the acknowledging of the truth.
Their eyes just may open up. Their eyeballs may open up. The light bulb may click where they realize I got to change. But you can't send mixed messages trying to force somebody to change like we just read without the proper ingredients. That light bulb will never come on. He said the contrary effect will happen. They'll just resist. They'll just resist relinquishing their thoughts, and they'll resist introducing new thoughts to themselves. They'll resist both of them. They'll just say, I'm just going to stay neutral. I'm just going to ride out whatever I got to do. Whatever happens, happens. And they become their own worst enemy. You have a chance to motivate people to change. How you operate on a personal level, on a mental level, emotional level, or spiritual level, what thoughts you have in your mind can change that person's outcome. You open up a window of opportunity when you use the right ingredients to change your people. You give them some hope. But when you're all frustrated, you can't even look at them, you're tired of talking to them, man, you just shutting the door on them. They don't even want to change. Read.
Now, verse 26, and that they may recover themselves out of the snare of the devil.
It said, yeah, they might just break away from the chains of the devil because you showed them enough love and enough compassion, enough mercy to break away from the damn trap that they was in. They didn't even know they was in. Let that go and go back, my wallet, to Jude and finish that in Jude.
Jude chapter 1 and verse 22 reads, and if some have compassion, making a difference,
go ahead,
and others saved.
Hold on. Stop. Let's go here first. Titus chapter 1 verse 7. Then we're going to come back to where you at, my wallet. Let it go. So have a seat. We're going to come back to that in just a minute. Let's go to Titus chapter 1 verse 7. Read that.
Titus chapter 1 and verse 7. For a bishop must be blameless.
And we're still talking about leaders. We're still talking about leadership. It said a bishop must be what?
Blameless.
It said you got to be what?
Blameless.
You got to be blameless. There's still qualification that you got to meet, especially when it comes to leading people. You can't be hypocritical. You got to be blameless. Read on.
As the steward of the Most High.
Because you're still a what?
Steward of the Most High.
You're a minister of the Most High. A steward is a butler.
That don't sound glorious.
That don't sound like a great position. You're a butler.
Glorious butler.
A glorified butler. You're a butler. You wait on people. You don't control nothing. You don't control nothing. We don't got no control. It's a peradventure that this person would recover themselves from the snares of the devil. By chance. We give people a chance to change by how we treat them and how we teach them. We give them more chances to change. We're just a butler. You're a servant. You ain't nobody. Like Yahweh said earlier, pride will get a person to think that
you're a master.
I'm you know what? I shouldn't have to condescend to your level and deal and put up with your adversities and the fact that you inconvenience me. I shouldn't have to be bothered by your ill ways, your ill nature. Read on.
It says, not self-willed.
It said, not what?
Not self-willed.
Not self-willed. Now, it has been reported that and this is sad, but not gonna say it hasn't happened, but you got some so-called brothers that are leading women, wives, that are counseling with pistols. Not in our camp, not in none of the camps that our brother camps. Not happening in Virginia, in Houston, or
None of our
New
associations.
York. Not brothers that we, but I've heard Israelites giving Israelites a bad name. And you got these fake teachers that got pistols on the table while they counsel their ribs. That is what Christ said. Those are liars, man. Those aren't real teachers, bro. There ain't no real teachers. If you counsel anybody, male or female, and you got a weapon in your hand, you ain't no teacher. You shouldn't even be a teacher. You shouldn't be teaching. If you're intimidating people, you shouldn't even lead nobody. But this is facts. Some people are giving Israelites bad names because how they go about trying to dispense this knowledge. It never said use a weapon to instruct somebody. It says beat a child on his side with a rod of correction shall drive out foolishness. It talk about, chastise the child if you love him, but it don't say pull out no damn weapon to counsel. Then you're not apt to teach then. You're not even qualified to lead nobody. Or you got a weapon on the table because you're trying to give some. What are you insinuating?
It's the conversation.
What are you insinuating with the weapon out? Yes, sir.
Said forbear threat.
We're going to get there. We're going to get there. That's what you jumping ahead, but you're in there. You're in there.
We're in that chapter.
Yeah. He's like, I know it's in there. I seen it. It said what?
Right.
He said not what?
Not self-willed.
Not self-willed, meaning you created a damn method of trying to get somebody to do something that you created. Nobody ever passed that down. Nobody pulled a gun out on you to get you in the truth. Nobody pulled the swords off the wall and was like, hey, brother,
One more time.
hey, ain't nobody leaving right now. Ain't nobody leaving. We got the sword, we just sharpen these. Ain't nobody leaving. Nobody delivered the word of Christ to you that way. Christ didn't deliver his word that way to anybody. With weapons in hand? What are you insinuating by this? You gonna force somebody to do what you want them to do? That's a tyrant. That's a tyrant. That's not a leader. A tyrant is an illegitimate leader. One who has taken the throne by force. That's not a legitimate hereditary leader. You're going to intimidate people to get them to do what you want them to do? Then you're not a good teacher then. He said what?
Right. It says not self-willed. Not soon angry.
He said, and you need to remove what?
Anger.
You got a hot temper. You can't be no leader with a hot temper. You can't have a short fuse and be trigger happy and you a leader. The Most High don't want no part of that nature representing his leadership. You got a fast, short temperament, but you supposed to be a leader, but you don't have patience to deal with you're going to need a lot of patience to deal with your people. You're going to need a lot of compassion to deal with your people. But everything pisses you off? He said, not soon what?
Not soon angry.
Give me 1 Timothy 5:17.
First Timothy chapter 5, verse 17. 5 verse 17.
Mm-hmm.
Let the elders that rule well be counted worthy of double honor.
Some elders rule well, some don't. The ones that do, He said, let them be counted with what?
double honor,
Double honor. Go ahead.
especially they who labor in the word and doctrine.
They got weapons and swords.
They who labor in the word and doctrine.
They got knives and guns.
They who labor in the word and doctrine.
They got intimidation tactics.
Especially they who labor in the word and doctrine.
You better do this or else.
They who labor in the word and doctrine.
What do they give you?
Word and doctrine.
They give you words and doctrine, teaching. They give you the word. They give you the word of the Most High, not their own emotion. That's what they have to offer you. Whether you receive it, and they intermingle that with patience and kindness and gentleness and mercy,
Like that nurse.
like a nurse. But nobody forces nobody to be here. The door swings both ways. Nobody's forcing anybody to do this. But our job is to give you the word of the Most High of why you should do this. A good leader will give you doctrine, he'll give you good teaching, and he'll give you the words of the scriptures. He's not giving you his emotion. Read on.
Verse 18. For the scripture saith, Thou shalt not muzzle the ox that treadeth out the corn.
That means I'm trying to get something out of somebody but not feeding them. I'm not giving them what it takes for them to continue and for them to grow and move on to do their job. I'm expecting something from somebody, but I'm not giving them what they need to function. In order for people to do service for the Most High, they need doctrine, they need teaching. You got to feed them something. Read on.
And the laborer is worthy of his reward.
Read on.
Against an elder receive not an accusation,
Go ahead. Read on down to 22.
but before 2 or 3 witnesses. Them that sin rebuke before all, that others also may fear.
Yes, you rebuke men, you correct men using the word. But you do it so that as an example for other people. Read on.
I charge thee before the Most High, and the Lord Yahushua, and the elect angels, that thou observe these things without preferring one before another, doing nothing by partiality.
And don't treat people better than you treat other people. Be fair across the board.
I mean, I gotta maintain basic the basic procedure of the camp versus being variable and varying how I interact with men. It has to be based off of program, doctrine, what I've been taught. I can't interject me in the conversation.
My preferences.
I can't interject my preferences or my personal feelings. It has to be just the scriptures and the word of the Most High and method.
You know, I'm more fond of one person over another, so I'm lenient on this individual,
Yeah.
but I'm hard as hell on this
I
individual.
deal differently based off how I like what I like about this person.
The scriptures say having men's person in admiration because of advantage.
Come on,
Now, I'll treat person different if there's something that they can give me.
I get a benefit.
If I got a benefit, I'll treat them nice. But if I don't get a benefit from somebody, shit, I'm treating them hard as hell. They're going to get the cold side of me. Read on.
Verse 22. Lay hands suddenly on no man.
And not just weapons, but you ain't even supposed to be doing what?
Lay hands.
You ain't supposed to be putting your hands on anybody. But how many times do we hear this? Oh, you had to squeeze your throat? You think that's gonna have an adverse
The
effect?
lesson's gonna get learned now.
Yeah, that's gonna have a contrary effect. But how many times do you hear this? Because you're not qualified to teach. So you think by forcing your way on somebody, they're gonna get the better lesson, the greater lesson? By imposing yourself on somebody? They're gonna be willing to digest new information?
For crazy.
They're gonna be looking for the first opportunity to get the hell away.
escape.
Like
Well,
that brother down in Puerto Rico that got that natural man farm he got going on with. He got all these
Oh, you
women.
heard about him, huh?
Yeah, he got all these women, and one woman got her visa and got the hell out of there.
Nature boy.
Nature
Nature
boy.
boy, yeah.
Yeah, got the hell away from this dude.
He's locked up
He
now.
been a demon.
Oh, he's locked up.
Yeah,
He's a maniac,
Yeah, he's tripping, bro.
controlling a bunch of women by force down in the forest of Puerto Rico, in the woods of Puerto Rico. Got all these ribs. Got them like slaves.
And man ribs. Huh?
Yeah. Oh, he got man ribs
Man
too.
ribs, too.
Oh man,
He's out of there.
anybody can get it. Read on.
Verse 22. 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 22. Lay hands suddenly on no man, neither be partaker of other men's sins.
It said, neither do you adopt what you see. If you see bad leaders, don't duplicate bad leadership's doings.
Don't adopt.
Don't adopt it. Don't adopt bad tactics of leadership. Don't pick it up. There's bad leadership, even in Israel. But there's some things that should be left out. You getting choked in your congregation, not the congregation. It's not the right congregation. You getting intimidated by weapons, not the congregation. Yeah, that's the wrong spirit.
It's not Christ.
That ain't Christ. Read on.
Be partakers of other men's sins. Be partakers of other men's sins.
It says,
Keep
yeah,
thyself-
neither be partakers of other men's sins.
Neither be partaker of other men's sins. Keep thyself pure.
It says you're supposed to keep yourself what?
Pure.
Pure means undefiled. That means that if you keep yourself pure as a leader, that means you're not overthrown with emotion. You're not inundated with all these feelings and emotions that spill out on the people that you're supposed to be instructing. You're keeping your emotions out of it. You're untainted. Unadulterated is a better word. That means you're uninfluenced by all these other emotions and feelings that will eradicate the opportunity for your leadership to be successful. People don't want to follow that. So you got to keep a pure outlook. You got to have a sober mind, a clear mind. Not soon angry. That's what it says in Titus. Now go back to Titus. That's what it said, not soon. You ain't quick to get so angry. You're supposed to be pure in the mind.
Done. Titus chapter 1 and verse 7. For a bishop must be blameless as the steward of the Most High, not self-willed.
It said, not what?
Not self-willed.
Not making up your own damn teaching. You got this.
Self-will is important. I like that point even better. That self-will point. You weren't trained like this.
Yeah, you got your own spin on what it means to train people.
You don't match the
template.
The template that your elder has. You're coming with an independent template that the Most High won't accept.
Yep. But that's why I said, man, you're supposed to be pure. Read on.
Not soon angry.
Not soon. And these are not good qualifications of somebody that's leading somebody as a parent or a brother or a sister.
Yeah.
Hot-minded, quick-tempered, short-fused, easily agitated, lack patience and kindness. Read on.
Not given to wine.
And not given to wine. How many bad parents, bad leaders we got that was intoxicated all the time? You don't know where the baby at. You don't know what the baby's doing because you're intoxicated.
No.
All you care about is getting your fix. And it's not just wine, it's an influence. It represents influence. All you care about is your influence. I watched a damn video where a woman was at an amusement park with her kid and they was at a little baby swimming pool and she was all in her phone and didn't know the baby was drowning. But she was on her phone texting and the baby is in the water drowning.
Wow.
This is at the apartments, right?
No, I seen that too. But I seen that too. I saved a baby one time. I was waiting on a ride to school at 6:30 in the morning in my apartment complex. I was in the 5th grade. I was 10 years old. I'm waiting for a ride, 6:30 in the morning. My apartment was right in front of the swimming pool. I see bubbles coming up. So I'm just waiting for a ride. It's 6:30 in the morning. I see bubbles coming up. I keep seeing bubbles coming up. I said, man, let me go look over here. I go in the water, a little 2-year-old baby floating. I jumped in the water, grabbed the baby, pumped the water out, and then the mother came out. Oh my God, where was the baby? And first of all, I'd already been outside for about 5-10 minutes. That baby was already in that pool. That baby was already floating. You were in your world. Whatever you was doing, you was in your world. Put a little baby up, pumped the water out. The baby came back. Baby was already blue.
That's crazy, bro.
Baby came back to life. Oh my God, where were you? What are you doing? Like, no, where were you? What were you doing? What were you doing?
That's crazy.
Obviously, you ain't watching your baby. It's 6:30 in the morning. The baby is got a pamper on, floating in the pool. At 6:30, you're not watching the baby because whatever's got your attention is more important than you watching your baby because you got to get your fix. But he said, not what?
It says, not soon angry, not given to wine.
Yeah, but you got so many people they got so many distractions and they're influenced and they're bad leaders because their mind is somewhere else. Because they got to get their fix. They got to get satisfy their indulgence.
I'm lacking.
I'm lacking, and I got piss poor leadership.
But there's something in me is lacking. Because you brought up earlier in the class about you can't be consumed with your life and not be in that position of service.
Time.
So when a person like, well, I'm lacking this, I'm lacking that, I'm consumed with trying to indulge because I'm lacking certain things. Meanwhile, the sheep are being slaughtered.
They're suffering.
Come.
They're suffering, right? Read on.
No striker.
It said not quick. A striker is somebody that throw hands. That's a brawler. Somebody that's quick to throw hands. That's how they resort to control, is using their hands to dominate somebody. I'm gonna physically try to get you to do it. You're not gonna get nobody to do nothing. People run from that. There's a contrary effect to that. You can't be a leader beating people up. Quick to beat people up. Because you got a temper. If anybody should have beat anybody up, Moses had a reason. But he didn't pick up not one stone. He was meek. The scripture say that Moses was the meekest man that walked the whole face of the earth. He wouldn't dare put his hands on somebody. All he did was drop to his knees and call on the Most High. The Most High defended him. But he lost patience one time. And there was a repercussion of that. And we'll get to that in a minute. Read on.
Not given to filthy lucre.
I'm not doing it for money. Read on.
But a lover of hospitality.
It said, but a lover of hospitality. I do this for other people, to see them happy. You know somebody that do it for money? Go to John 10 and 13. Somebody that do it for money, if it's only about the money. I'm a mercenary for Christ. I only do what I got to do. I only suffer people because I get paid to do it. I only tolerate you because I get a check from it. Yes, sir.
John chapter 10, St. John chapter 10, verse 13.
Read that.
It says, the hiring fleeth.
No, the hireling.
Yes, the hireling fleeth.
I'm sorry, I thought you said hiring. The hireling fleeth. Go ahead.
St. John chapter 10, verse 13. The hireling fleeth.
It said the hireling, somebody that only does a job because they get paid. They don't have, the love isn't there. They're only doing it for a check. So, what happens when you do something just for a check? It said the hiring does what?
Fleeth.
Go ahead.
Because he is an hireling.
Go ahead.
And careth not for the sheep.
When it comes to hazarding yourself or putting yourself in danger or making yourself uncomfortable, even the money doesn't become good enough because there are some things that money can't do.
It's not worth it.
That money's not worth. When it comes to jeopardizing your livelihood, you're going to pick yourself. The money, you'll get some money somewhere else. I'll go get another job.
There's easier ways to get money.
It's easier ways to get money with less hazard and less inconvenience. I can flip some other tops and some other balls and spin some other things and make some other things happen because this ain't worth it. Because when it comes to jeopardizing your sustainability, you're not willing to do it because you don't care enough for the sheep. The love ain't there. So a hireling will skip and jump ship as soon as the nearest opportunity happens when he gets uncomfortable. Or when his love gets tested. He has no endurance. Easy to quit because it was just about the money. That's why I can just bounce out because it was only for the money. And it wasn't no real care. It wasn't a care for the people. It What about can you do this work for Christ when there's no money involved? Why do you think the first lesson for the disciples, Christ sent them out with no purse, no money, no coats, no shoes, no script, no staff? Why do you think Christ put the lesson up, no silver, no gold? Why do you think the first lesson for the disciples was to go out and teach the word broke? So that you need to learn to do this for the love of the Most High and your people, not because you get paid to do it.
That would a broken person that's doing it for benefit.
A hireling would have quit on Christ in a heartbeat. I ain't doing that. I'm not subjecting myself to that because I can get paid somewhere else. That ain't enough money for me to stay. Now let that go and go back to Jude. Who had Jude?
I had Jude.
Jude, read Jude chapter 1 verse 23.
Come. Jude chapter 1 and verse 23 reads, and others save with fear.
It says some you gotta save with compassion. Now what did that look like? Based on what we went over so far, what does saving with compassion looks like? Yes, sir.
Having to wait and be patient with the next man's development.
Yes, kind.
With kindness and gentleness.
Kind. Anybody else? Kind. Yes, sir.
Being willing to suffer their sickness.
Yep. Anybody else? Anybody? So far, when he says some you save with compassion, the question was, what does that look like so far based on what we've read so far?
So saving some with compassion would be doing whatever, sacrificing willingly, whatever is necessary to help those or the person or the people in need achieve the spiritual goal or fulfill whatever they're missing, whatever they're lacking, if you will. Not taking it personal, not getting upset, not throwing a fit or a hissy fit, a tantrum, because me, myself, or the people in the leadership are being inconvenienced or put with a task that isn't necessarily what they want to do at that time, or because it takes away from what the bigger picture, what they think the big picture is, what they got to do. It's the person that's putting on the mind frame of Christ all the time and being conscious of, well, I'm not going to go to that, but that's it.
Yeah, understood. All right, we got that. Yes, sir.
Ministering unto those that are in need with the Most High in mind.
With the Most High in mind. Very conscious of the Most High. Yes, sir.
It means like in the spirit of goodwill, like you, the mercy you know that you receive, you reflect that on others.
Yes. Because the mercy that you know you need, you dispense it to others. All right. So now that's one way of leading people. Read.
Come. Salakia. Jude chapter 1 and verse 23 reads, and others save with fear.
It says, and others say, well, what?
Fear.
Go ahead.
Pulling them out of the fire.
See, it says, so now does that mean put your hands on them?
No.
He said, pulling them out of the fire. Go ahead.
Hating even the garment spotted by the flesh.
So, what does that mean?
Some spirits, some people need extra dialed in detail correction because that's what their spirit needs. Others need the reassurance, the constant exhortation, the constant motivation to keep pushing. But you gotta kind of know where that person's spirit at, what they can and cannot take, and that's where it means to be all things all men. Because some people need that fire and need that like a drill sergeant or people who get personal trainers. People will get personal trainers just because they need to be told you're not working hard enough. And they need a fire lit up on them constantly to keep motivating, to keep changing, to keep growing. That's that type of character type.
All right. Yes, sir.
Some people could be so oblivious. They need that different form of motivation, more intense form of motivation.
Right. I like that. Anybody else?
Well, it says, hey, that garment spotted by the flesh. The garment would be the person, because in the scriptures, we're supposed to have a wedding garment, right?
Yeah.
So with the spirit of the person, but the flesh is just hating the sin not the sinner like you brought up earlier.
Bingo. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 13, verse 1.
Ecclesiastes chapter 13, verse 1. He that toucheth pitch shall be defiled therewith.
Pitch is tar. If you touch tar, does the tar stay or does the tar remain? What he's showing you is when you touch something defiled, there will always be residue. The residue, if I touch a telephone pole that's covered in pitch and tar so they don't get weather beaten and weather rot and eaten by insects and termites, they put tar on it. So if I touch the telephone pole, does my fingerprint stay on the pole or that tar coming with me? The tar's coming with me. So when somebody touches sin, there will always have residue remaining. There will always be residue to sin. Sin, you're never able to touch sin and not be affected and leave unscathed. It says, any man that bringeth fire to his bosom shall be burned. No man bringeth fire to his bosom and not be burned. Meaning, when I embrace sin, sin always has a negative effect. Sin will always leave a stain. Sin will always leave residue. You don't touch sin and get away scot-free from sin. The wages of sin is what? Death. There's always a repercussion to sin. Sin leaves a stain. It leaves a residue. So do you hate the sin or do you hate the sinner?
Sin.
Do you hate the people that sin or do you hate the sin that people do or do you hate the sinners?
Hate the sin that people do.
How often do we collude the two?
Quite.
We hate both.
I can't stand you because read. That's the garment he's talking about. Go read that again.
Con, Ecclesiastes chapter 13, verse 1.
No, Jude chapter 1 verse 23. We got that point.
Okay.
Jude chapter 1 and verse
No,
20.
no, finish that. I want you to finish that because it's more on the same point of showing you how the residue remains. Read that.
Ecclesiastes 13 and 1.
Read that.
He that toucheth pitch shall be defiled therewith.
Yeah, you don't touch something and that will defile you and you not leave with some residue on you. Read on.
And he that hath fellowship with a proud man
And if you hang out with a proud man, what will happen?
shall be like unto him.
There will be some residue. You're going to take some of that person's pride with you.
That's crazy.
You're going to become the people that you associate with.
I want to adopt these people's issues.
You're going to adopt their temperaments. You're going to adopt their perspective. They're going to rub off on you. That's why the scripture say keep no company with certain individuals. Because you're going to their whatever they are about will rub off and affect you. So, he's talking about residue remaining. Especially when you're dealing with sin. Now go back to Jude 1:23. Read that.
Con. Jude chapter 1 verse 23 reads, and others saved with fear,
Go ahead.
pulling them out of the fire,
Read.
hating even the garment spotted by the flesh.
Is he talking about hating the person themselves?
Nope.
Is that how you going to get people to change? You got to hate them.
Nope. Hating the garment.
You got to hate it, the garment that's what?
That's spotted by the flesh.
So do you hate the sin or do you hate the sinner?
Sin.
You hate the sin, you don't hate the person that's sinning. Too often, people can't tell if you really like them or hate them because of what they made a mistake. You don't differentiate the two. Yes, sir.
Is it safe to say that you're supposed to hate the mentality?
Well, let's find out.
The scripture says, "You cover with a covering, but not of mine."
That's the Most High talking, right? But let's go to Luke 7:39 to get more clarity on this.
Okay.
Luke chapter 7 verse 39.
Luke chapter 7 and verse 39.
Read.
Now when the Pharisees, which had bidden him, saw it, he spake within himself, saying, this man, if he were a prophet, would have known who And what manner of woman this is that toucheth him, for she is a sinner.
It said what? This is the Pharisee that invited Christ over for dinner.
This is judgment.
This is the perspective of the Pharisee that watched this woman come in the house and started crying and wiping Christ's feet with tears and her hair and kissing his feet. Read that?
Verse 40. And Yahweh Shah.
No, read that part again.
Come.
Verse 39.
Verse 39. Now when the Pharisee which had bidden him saw it, he spake within himself, saying,
He said, the Pharisee said in his mind what?
This man, if he were a prophet,
If this man was really a prophet, if he was really a teacher come from the Most High. Read on.
would have known who and what manner of woman this is that toucheth him, for she is a sinner.
It says, because if this man was really a prophet, he wouldn't let this woman do what? Touch him. What does that mean?
They're sitting here assuming that Christ would have actually done it. Their mindset is actually off. They're like, okay, well, why would you let a sinner touch him? But they're not realizing Christ doesn't hate the sinner.
Right. What you got?
If you're as righteous as we are, then you can allow him to sin and touch.
So this person, a Pharisaic mind frame, don't separate the sinner from the sins.
They can't.
They can't.
Could you say that again?
A Pharisaic mind frame cannot separate the sin from the sinner.
That's the disease of the Pharisees.
They can't separate it. You're disgusting to me. Not that you're disgusting because you sin, because you're subject to sinning, or you make mistakes. You're disgusting. I identify you by your mistakes. I don't compartmentalize the two and separate the fact that, you know what, you still need compassion. You're a human that needs compassion. You're a human that needs patience. That Pharisaic mind frame justifies the fact that you're a sinner as ammunition of why I don't have to give you compassion.
I have to engage it.
I don't have to deliver kindness to you. It's my excuse that's built in and ingrained that I use to keep myself from having to offer myself to you and be of service to you and to inconvenience myself of you. I don't have to inconvenience myself as long as I put you in this category, this sinner's category. Then as long as you're in that box, I don't have to make myself uncomfortable. I'm not wasting my time.
And that's convenient for me.
Of course it's convenient for me because I don't got to waste my time having to show you any love. You don't deserve my love. You don't deserve my compassion. Or you don't deserve my help or my aid. You don't deserve my kindness. Shit, you don't even deserve to touch me. You better not touch me. You're an untouchable to me.
Yeah.
You're gross to me. You're disgusting to me. That's how they act in India.
Yeah.
When you're at the bottom of the barrel and the classism, they say if an untouchable touches a doorknob, everything an untouchable touches, the middle class, which is the military class, the warrior class, or the priest class, anything that an untouchable touches in India, they have to spray it down and wipe it down and clean it. Because you're not supposed to touch what they touch. Because they're a low class of people. But they're not separating people based off who needs help. They're not separating people off mercy. They're relegating people based on who has money and what do you do for society. You don't benefit society because you're a low class person. You don't benefit me because you're a sinner. You don't benefit me. You do nothing for me.
So it's like almost a caste system amongst Israel.
God. So they don't do that. So this is why what he's talking about in Jude is you hate the spotted garment. You don't hate the person wearing the garment. you're still supposed to show that person love. Was Christ not with the publicans and the sinners? Was that not his choice audience? Even the Pharisees said, why do your master eat it with publicans and sinners? Why is he eating with them people? This Pharisee say, why are you letting this sinner touch you? Because they can't separate the two.
Wow.
You understand that?
So they're the deficient.
They're deficient ones. Right. Now Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. Somebody else get Proverbs. We want to wrap it up a little bit. It's getting late. Ephesians 6 and 4. Somebody else Proverbs 14:29. Somebody else Colossians 4 and 1. Real quick. We gotta speed it up a little bit.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4.
Yep.
It says, and ye, fathers, provoke not your children to wrath.
And this is why you don't provoke your children to what?
To wrath.
How are you supposed to deal with children as a leader, as a parent? Read on. You're supposed to make them hate you. You're supposed to agitate them. You're supposed to be short with them, impatient with them, unnurturing with them. Read on.
It says, but bring them up in the nurture.
It says, bring them up in the nurture. Get the definition of nurture. Bring them up in the nurture. Go ahead.
It says, and admonition of the Lord.
And an admonition to admonish somebody is the correction coming from the scriptures, not from you, not from your emotion. Read nurture.
Nurture, 1828, Webster's Dictionary. That which promotes growth.
It says you're supposed to bring this child up in what promotes growth. You having impatience, lack of tolerance, no empathy, no mercy, being unmerciful, having no kindness. You think that's going to aid somebody for development? No, it's contrary to development. You're rearing them up the wrong way. What else you got?
Education, instruction, to bring or train up.
Yeah, you want to train them up the right way? Train them up with scriptures, not your feelings and emotions. Now, let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 32, and let's read verse 48, so we can identify what was the outcome of Moses' mistake when he grew impatient with his people.
You said Deuteronomy now?
Yeah, Deuteronomy 32 and read verse 48.
You want the Deuteronomy? You don't want the Deuteronomy?
Get it. Yeah, get it. Get yeah.
Proverbs 14 and
Yeah,
verse 9.
I do need it. Read it.
Fools make a mock and sin.
It's not.
No.
29.
Proverbs chapter 14, verse 29.
29. Proverbs 14 and verse 29. He that is slow to wrath.
Stop. If you're a good leader, you're a good parent, you'll be slow to what?
Wrath.
You'll be slow to wrath. You won't get angry so quick. It says, he that's slow to wrath. Read on.
He that is slow to wrath is of great understanding.
It said, this man is of great what?
Understanding.
How do you know when somebody got understanding from the Most High?
Slow to wrath.
How do you know that somebody don't have understanding of the Most High? They don't have good understanding.
Hot-minded.
They're quick-tempered. They're soon angry. They're quick to be upset. They're impatient. They have no temperance. They lack in temperance. They lack in patience. He said, but you can identify somebody that has good understanding because they know how to subdue their emotion. They know how to leave their emotion out of the lessons.
Good restraint.
It's restraint. Self-control.
That would be a virtue. Or
that is a virtue. When you read Wisdom of Solomon chapter 8, self-restraint is a virtue. Matter of fact, I'll give you the name of it. It says, hold on one second. Hold on, it's a Wisdom of Solomon. Let me get it. It's called it says read Wisdom of Solomon chapter 8 verse 7.
Wisdom of Solomon 8 and 7.
Read that.
chapter 8, verse 7. And if a man love righteousness, her labors are virtue.
It says they'll work at these powers. These are powers for a righteous person. What are they? Read on.
But she teaches temperance.
Temperance is self-restraint. That's the definition of temperance. Temperance is self-restraint. That means I'm not so quick to get mad because somebody violates something or does something wrong. It doesn't bother me because some people make mistakes or they don't get it right off the first go around. You got to be a broken record when it comes to training people, educating people, leading people. You got to be on repeat. People don't learn that fast. They don't yield up their mistakes or their opinions that quickly.
We didn't.
Of course we didn't. We didn't change off the first scripture we heard. It took multiple scriptures and a lot of patience from a lot of people around us to sustain us and get us to open our eyes up to realize that something's wrong with me. Even to just embrace the fact that I got a problem. How long does that take? Just to get somebody to see they got an issue. Takes years. Or to get somebody to talk about their issues. Takes years. Feel comfortable enough to admit this is my problem. Takes years. So he said that if a person care about virtue, he said the first thing that they're learning is what?
Patience.
Temperance. Her virtues are what? She teaches temperance. That is self-restraint. That's number one. Read on.
And prudence.
Prudence, sagacity, caution, being careful. Read on.
Justice.
Justice, being fair, equal, not impartial. Read on.
And fortitude.
Or not partial. Read. And fortitude. Courageous, embracing challenges without fear. Read.
Which are such things as men can have nothing more profitable in their life.
It said these are things that are advantageous to their life. These are benefits to life. They're also benefits to being a leader. If you can possess these and use them. Go back to where we were in let that go in Proverbs. Go to Colossians 4:1. And then give me Deuteronomy. Yes, sir. We're about to wrap it up.
Colossians chapter 4, verse 1. Masters, give unto your servants that which is just and equal.
We just read that justice is a virtue. He said, give to your servants that which is just and equal. Read on.
Knowing that ye also have a master in heaven.
Why do you give people mercy?
Knowing that ye also have a master in heaven.
Why do you choose compassion?
Knowing that ye also have a master in heaven.
Why do you use temperance instead of being angry?
Knowing that ye also have a master in heaven.
Because you're not detached from the Most High is why. Anybody that starts to use carnal elements to rule, to lead, as far as emotion, agitation, irateness, vexation, irritability, people get under my skin, you're not going to be a good leader. There's going to be faults to that leadership. And there will be consequences to that leadership. Now go to Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 48.
Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 48 reads, And the Lord spake unto Moses that selfsame day, saying, Get thee up into this mountain, Abiram, unto Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, that is over against Jericho. And behold the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel for a possession.
So he said, go up to this mountain. Go to Mount Nebo. I want you to get up, climb that mountain. Read on.
And die in the mount whither thou goest up.
And when you get up there, you're going to what?
Die in the mount.
That's a death walk. You're going to take this last ride up to this mountain. And when you get up to that mountain, you're going to die there. Read on.
And die in the mount whither thou goest up, and be gathered unto thy people, as Aaron thy brother died in Mount Hor.
So Moses outlived his sister Miriam, and he outlived his brother Aaron. He said, but your time is going to come up there too. Read on.
And was gathered unto his people.
Read on.
Because ye trespassed against me among the children of Israel.
Did the Most High let that frustration that Moses had by disobeying his commands and taking the people personal, did the Most High let it slide?
Nah.
Even though Moses was the meekest man on the earth, did he let it slide?
Nah.
So is he going to let you slide?
Nah.
He said, because you did what?
Because ye trespassed against me among the children of Israel at the waters of Meribah Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin.
You trespassed. I told you to speak to the rock. You hit the rock twice. And then you added another comment about how these people you looked at as Nimrods, you got tired of feeding them. As if it was you doing it. You're the vessel. You're the butler. You're the servant. You're the minister. Why are you agitated? Why did you get frustrated? Now you got to pay for that. Read on.
Because ye sanctified me not in the midst of the children of Israel.
What does he mean when he says you sanctified me not? Anybody? What does that mean?
Listen to my word.
What'd you say?
You didn't separate the people from the sin.
Yep. What else? You said you didn't listen to my words?
Yeah.
What else?
Sanctified meaning you weren't conscious, you didn't consider me, you didn't remember me. We didn't remember the Most High.
Okay. Yep. What you got?
Because he was an example.
Okay. Yes, sir.
You didn't represent the Most High being pure and holy.
Bingo. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 45, verse 4. Bingo. You hit it on the head.
Ecclesiastes 45 and 40.
Verse 4.
Ecclesiastes chapter 45 and verse 4.
So we know what you're talking about. Read verse 1 and then read verse 4.
Ecclesiastes chapter 45 verse 1. And he brought out of him a merciful man, which found favor in the sight of all flesh, even Moses, beloved of the Most High, and men, whose memorial is blessed.
Now read verse 4.
Ecclesiastes 45 verse 4. He sanctified him in his faithfulness.
He says Moses' job was to be set aside for a divine purpose. That's what sanctified means. The Most High separates you for a divine purpose. I put you here for a job. I set you up to do a job. Your job was to be faithful to who? To the Most High. So when he says, when he told him, listen, you didn't sanctify me. Meaning what?
You didn't do your job.
You didn't do your job. I'm stinging you for not doing your job that I chose you to do. You didn't do your job right. I put you here to lead these people, not to be frustrated with these people, not to be angry with these people. He said, but I sanctified you in what?
In his faithfulness.
And what else?
And meekness.
You were supposed to remain what?
Meek.
The whole time. What did Moses lose? He lost his meekness. His meekness got put to the test, even though he had a whole bunch of it. But it was a little error. He grew frustrated. He got angry with him. And the Most High, the whole purpose the Most High put him on the scene was to be faithful and to keep showing the people meekness. When he lost that, he went against the Most High's instruction. That's why the Most High said, you didn't sanctify me, man. You didn't deliver me the glory that I put you there for to deliver me. You're supposed to be a chosen vessel to operate my word to these people. Deliver my message to them. I didn't need your irritation. I didn't need your emotion. I didn't need your frustration. I didn't need your little snappy little smart comment about you giving the people water. Finish that. Verse 4.
It says, he sanctified him in his faithfulness and meekness, and chose him out of all men.
That's why Moses was a chosen vessel. He had a job to do. Your job is to be faithful and keep showing meekness no matter what. And for that reason, He said, "You gonna go up? You didn't sanctify me, and not in the midst of the children of Israel. Yet thou shalt see the land before thee, but thou shalt not go thither unto the land which I give to the children of Israel." He said, because you were short on your meekness, you came up short on meekness and temperance, self-restraint. You coming up short when it comes to seeing the promised land or getting to the promised land. You coming up short. You see how the Most High is fair?
Yeah.
You see how you got a master in heaven that will do the same thing that you do to people to you? When your temper is short with people, the Most High's temper is short with you. Whatever blessing that He had ready for you, you renege that blessing and you come up short because you didn't want to give people what you owe them as a servant, as a minister. Last verse, 1 John chapter 5, verse 18. And then we'll finish part 2 later.
First John chapter 5, verse 18. We know that whosoever is born of the Most High sinneth not. But he that is begotten of the Most High keepeth himself.
Yes. Read that again.
First John chapter 5, verse 18.
Let me get it because I want to get this real quick. Chapter 5, verse 18. There's a point I want to get to. Read this.
We know that whosoever is born of the Most High sinneth not. But he that is begotten of the Most High keepeth himself, and that wicked one toucheth him not.
He said, he don't let the devil in. He said, the wicked one touches him not. I don't let the devil in. How do you let the devil in? He says, this man keepeth himself. That definition of keepeth himself means to keep one in the state in which he is to observe or undergo something. This is a definition of keepeth. When he said you're supposed to keep yourself, he says to keep one in the state in which he is to observe and undergo something. What does that mean?
Because he realized he made the smart decision if he was always in the mindset that, you know what, I'm learning something.
He said, if I'm always, what you got?
I'm always conscious of the Most High. I'm always conscious.
Slow down. Say it again.
One, I'm always conscious of the Most High. And two, because of that, I'm conscious of my job and my responsibility. So I'm not going to be slack in doing that.
That's exactly what it is. It says, he that keepeth himself to keep one in the state in which he is to observe. Meaning, you're always conscious of the Most High. This is how you stay Satan free. This is how you not allow Satan to come in your situation. You always observe and aware of what your job is and what you're supposed to undergo. The moment Moses lost that, he let it slip out of his mind. He grew impatient. That frustration don't come. That frustration doesn't come from the Most High. I don't want to. I'm gonna stop because if I continue, we're gonna go to the second part. We're gonna stop it right there. All right, so we're gonna cut it right there because then we're gonna go. I don't want to get to this whole second half. So with that, we're gonna go and say shalom to Water for watching. Everybody, we'll be back in action on Friday. So with that, shalom everybody online and to Water. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and cut it with that. We'll come back. We'll finish this on Wednesday next week. All right, Imagine we'll put on walk with them, rise and face the east.